vibrate. You already know what it is. We got Miss Key in the building. Key winning wellness.
Yeah.
Uh, just in case the people don't uh know, tell us a little bit about your platform and what
All
you got going on, what you do.
right. Greetings, everyone. I go by Key Wellness. Appreciate you for having me, Mr. Frequencies, on the show today. Universal Frequencies. It's a long
Look, it's
time coming on the channel. Um,
right, right.
so my my channel is basically just my journey, just kind of documenting my journeys a lot on my channel, from spirituality to just practical things, working out, eating right. I talk a lot about emotional wellness. For me, it's overall wellness: physical, mental, spiritual. But the emotional part is really, I think, is where I shine at. It's my gift because, like, just like transmuting emotions and alchemy and stuff like that, and how to really navigate through this life and stuff, and just sharing my journey and how I'm navigating it. Yeah.
Right, right. All right. I'm gonna learn a lot because that's my little area where sometimes I have difficulties, you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
Capricorn poker face.
Hmm. Nice. It's a journey. It's learning for me too. I'm learning it
you
myself.
know.
Yeah. Hmm.
And as we posted, the topic of discussion is, and I'm gonna say it as it was presented to me from Miss Key, us living in a world with many perspectives and how to maintain yourself in this pool of judgment and opinions, you know what I'm saying? So, that's the topic of discussion. And, as you spoke on, your YouTube channel and having like, from practical stuff and spiritual stuff, emotional stuff, like the opinions of others and judgments, how did that affect or not affect, what I'm saying, your YouTube channel and how you presented yourself on YouTube? Like how
Yeah. It has affected my channel a lot. Cause like at one point I was just like very like just open and just like sharing everything when I was sleeping in my car, and when I moved to Texas, when I was sleeping in my car for like 10 months. That was really when I was like the most consistent. And I just really felt like I was just sharing my journey. And then last year when I was in Hawaii for 6 months, I just took a one-way trip from Georgia to Hawaii and just was documenting my journey. And sometimes it just becomes a space where it's interesting because the whole society thing and how you're supposed to be moving out here, like on social media, especially if you're trying to, establish a platform and an audience. Like you consistent, like you've been doing this for so long, and like you got your people and your audience, and they, you know, you continue to make content. But I just get to a space spiritually and mentally and emotionally where I just feel like I have to just I kind of just want to go inward and figure things out on my own without sharing everything. So
yeah.
it definitely it definitely affects me.
And as you see that right quick, you know what I'm saying? As you're saying, like, oh man, you've been consistent. Like, shit, the last 2 to 3 years actually been that space for me where I wasn't posting as much as I used to. Like, before it
Hmm.
was like, to the point where I even stopped the think fast segment because it's like, look, we need to
Oh
think
yeah.
slow. We need to, we need to, yeah, in fact, you don't even need to be thinking too much at all. You need to be going
Exactly.
inward and
Exactly.
reflecting, you know what I'm saying? And for me,
Exactly.
it was having to slow down because I was realizing how much I was channeling information, like the gift of just like channeling things, but then also
Hmm.
realizing the levels to channeling because you may be channeling and constantly posting, but you're not giving yourself time to digest it for yourself and apply it for
Exactly.
yourself. And I
Right.
think that's kind of what was mostly, the slow down. It's like, all right, you
Hmm.
know, you you talking it, but all right, kind of back up a little bit. You need to be a little bit
Exactly.
active with it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Hmm. That's exactly where I'm at. Just applying all the stuff. Like I learn, I take so much information in, and it's like, yeah, it's it's so good, you feel it and you feel it in your soul and your spirit, and you're like, yeah, this information is resonating with me, and I want to like share it with the world. Like that's how it was. But like you just said, it's like, yeah, you could talk the talk, but if you ain't walking the walk, it just ain't aligned. It's you have to
Right.
do both, and that's really where I am. Like really applying everything that I'm learning. Like, and it's like a daily experiment, like of these experiences. Like really applying the stuff that I'm learning, and you know, I want to be a testimony. For like this shit really
Right.
works. Like I'm not just talking. So yeah.
Right. Because I
Hmm.
realized for me the trouble was like trying to understand, like, I made a video about that. For some of us, our bark, or like how they say, like the bark and the bite, like just barking and not biting. And I'm like, for some of us, our bark is our bite, in the sense of,
Mm.
by actively talking, that's a part of your walk and your journey.
I.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Kind of like, because even for me, like realizing, like, dang, all right, coming, finding out later on down the line that my Chiron placement is in Gemini, so it was meant for
Mm.
me to have this YouTube channel and kind of talk so much because it's a part of my healing, you know what I'm saying, as
Right.
well, so it's kind of like
Mhm.
an example of me healing myself through my channel. But again, it
Mhm.
definitely took that space to kind of like, all right, back up, check down on things, because it is certain things that I need to kind of digest a lot better, you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
having to back up and really understand that, you know what I'm saying? Because I was at certain points wondering, like, all right, am I talking too much? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's all right, that's a part of the journey too, is like, being vulnerable with yourself enough to, question things, and making sure that I also wasn't too attached to doing videos, and making sure I wasn't attached to the image of universal frequencies, always making videos. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, kind of don't do videos for a nice little while and see how you feel. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like,
Mhm.
like you say,
Yeah.
being active in the practice. But
Yeah. And that's where I'm at too. And I do be thinking sometimes like, shout out to shout out to the people that just can like do it and not think about it. Cause like I do be thinking like maybe it's like insecurity sometimes. Like I'm really not worried. It's really not about what other people think. It's really not, because all my videos are out already. Like I'm not, they're out there. Like you can go to my channel and look at all the stuff I don't put out already. Like it's
right,
out there. So it's nothing for me to continue talking, It's nothing. Like I already
right, right,
done said some wild shit that people gonna judge anyway. So, but it be for me, it just be like an internal thing, like um just feeling like the I guess it could be like an insecurity of just not feeling like I'm qualified. I don't know.
yeah, like
Not feeling.
the imposter syndrome type of energy.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
essence,
But I feel
it's
like it
like,
is my gift too, like you were just saying about talking. Um, I have a Mars in Gemini, and that's like
all right,
how we get shit done. That's my
passion, right, right,
masculine
right,
energy. So it is a lot to do with talking, you know. But I'm just
hmm,
like I just be like pulling back, trying to see the whole picture, and not like
right,
be
right,
in the heat, be in the fire, and So when like other other people's opinions and stuff, it's easy online. I ain't gonna cap. It's easier online. And this is probably why I just take a step back from online. Same concept as applying it in real life, because it's easy
hmm,
online just to get online and be talking. But
right, right,
for
right,
some
right,
people, some people it's hard. But for me, it was easy. But in real life, that's where the work is. Like to
hmm,
actually um, be met with like opposition from someone in my face. This just not this against my beliefs, or this
hmm.
challenging my beliefs, to make me challenge my beliefs. That's when it'd be like, oh. are you really standing on what you're talking about, or are you, you know,
Right,
so
right,
somebody got you shaking in your boots now because you know, they in your face.
right, right.
So
I think we all
yeah,
I think that's in connection with the shadow work, you know what I'm saying? Like shadow work manifesting through, certain people, places and things, it's like, all right, you really gotta check down on it, you know what I'm saying, and see again, like you say, walk
yeah,
it like you talk it, and now that it's in
hmm
your face, let's see how you're gonna handle it. See if you're
exactly.
again like a testimony of the work you speak on. See if you really
Hmm
have the faith as you know what I'm saying that you
Facts.
profess.
Exactly. And I feel like I do. I feel like I be th- just even the fact that I be facing situations or challenges or challenging people, but I stand on what I believe in, and where my path and my journey is going, like, and I don't share. That's the difference. I don't really people in my physical reality. I really don't share as much as I do on YouTube. Like, I go deep on YouTube. I wear my
Right.
heart on my sleeve. I bear it all. But in person,
Uh,
it just feels like, why even explain when it's kind of feels like nobody gonna understand really anyway. And it almost feels like it's just even harder to try to talk to somebody, you know, say it like you're trying to apply, love, unconditional love to a
mhm.
person in your physical reality that is maybe challenging, or may just not believe the same things you believe. It could make it seem harder by talking to them and trying to explain it. It's like, you ain't gotta explain it. Just be it. Just be love. Just do it. And like, know what you are about in your own mind and your life. Like, they ain't gotta their opinions really don't matter. So it's like, why even talk? I used to love to debate and stuff. And now I
All
don't
right.
even like to debate and like try to prove my point anymore. It don't make sense. Like, it don't get nowhere.
Man, like was funny, and and I be having to deal with that because some people feel funny about like the fact that like I don't talk as much to them because I psychologically real like I always been like a psychology like picking up on things and how things operating and pattern recognition with what I say and how it's taken. And it's like, well, shit, I
Mhm.
just won't say anything, because I know this is gonna lead to a debate. I know this is gonna lead to
Yeah.
who's right and who's wrong, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say nothing. And it comes off as like, oh, they're not saying nothing. You might,
Right.
and
They
I
don't
and
like
I gotta I gotta understand like that's just them and being also being sensitive to energy where you start to think something is wrong. You know what I'm saying
Mhm.
with you or like, all right, well maybe I am being too cold, and it's like, no,
Mhm.
you know the work, you know what it is, you gotta, you know, stand on this energy. And for me, it has been tough because it has come from or dealing with, certain family members and people who, it's proclaimed that we're supposed to just always be naturally close to, or you know what I'm saying, like
Right.
should,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, it's just what it is. And I always kind of just talk to myself like, hey, you chose this situation, you know what I'm saying, as a soul, you know what I'm saying? This is a part of your path. So,
Yeah.
again, like like in essence, have that unconditional love for them, no judgment, but,
Mhm.
stand on the energy of like, not trying to over explain or debate or any of that, because yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not one to play the duck season, rabbit season energy. Nah,
Mhm.
I'm straight on that.
Yeah, that's where I am in life right now. Just because it's all because, like we were just saying, it's always the most close people, and sometimes it don't. Sometimes it's not even family or friends. Sometimes it's just uh a reflection of some traumatic relationship from your past. And it
Mhm.
comes in, it be reflected and say, like, you can you can like try to move to a whole, like I learned this when I moved to Hawaii. You can try to move to a whole nother place and try to run away from your family that you grew up with for all your life, and you gonna meet some people that reflect those same energies that were
Mm-hmm.
challenging with people that you came from. Like, you can't run from it. That's what I know. Like, you can,
Speak
it'll be in your boss, it'll be in a manager, it'll be in somebody else you meet. Like, it's gonna show
and
up.
And speaking of that, you know what I'm saying? Like I realized having to understand that balance of, like, all right, the energy follows you wherever you go. So make sure that whenever you're moving because you really value wanting to go to that place, but not because you're thinking you're running away from something. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? It's like,
Yeah.
because that's the thing too. You shouldn't feel like, oh well, then I gotta just stay here even though I don't like being here. It's like, no, you could move, but just know
Hmm.
that when you move, make sure that you don't think you're trying to, escape this
Nah,
energy
facts.
when you're moving. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
kind of having that balance in the understanding. Like it's okay to move if you feel this is gonna be more inspiring to you. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Again, now's the vibrate. Don't hold yourself in a space where you don't want to be if you want to go somewhere else, but it's just truly understanding though, yeah, make sure it's not about like trying to run from somebody. Because
Yeah.
that like you say, that energy does show up in other people, so you're not going to run.
Hmm.
And just to check in, people in the chat, let us know how the audio and visual is. I don't see nobody. I don't know if the chat working, but you know because I'm big on that. I do the lives for a reason. I ain't
Hmm.
saying y'all gotta chat or talk, but let us know y'all
Yeah.
alive and kicking out there.
I
But
I seen a couple
continue.
people pop up.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Maybe it's not showing on my. I mean, I'm seeing the numbers on the thing, but I'm not seeing nothing in the chat.
Yeah, I seen
But
a
all right,
couple
cool.
people commented.
All right, dang.
But
Let's
yeah,
see. Look-
but that part. Just
right.
and it's it could be, disappointing, because it could be like you just said. You can be inspired by moving, definitely, definitely. But once you encounter them same type of energies, it could be like very disappointing, or make you feel like, damn, like, what I got
Right.
to
Right.
do, and it's like it's always gonna be there. And I'm just getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable and the energies that actually really irritate me. And
Mm-hmm.
them be the ones I be wanting to run from. Like, you're irritated. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be around you. Like, but I'm learning that when I learn to accept them, if a person is like that, who whatever they're like, just accept them, whatever they're like, And
Mm-hmm.
like, this is a big one. Like, I'm a Scorpio, right? But I met like a lot of Scorpio women. It's funny because most Scorpio women that I meet, like off like the beginning, even men too, we don't vibe. Like, it's like the initial is like, it's repellent, It's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I get like a very bitchy energy, and I'm like, damn, am I like this? And so I really think it be showing you yourself, and a part of
Right.
yourself that you try to suppress, that you don't
Mm-hmm.
allow yourself to accept, like shadow work. Shadow work
Right.
is the
Right.
part you suppress. It's gonna show up in somebody else until you learn to integrate it and accept it in yourself. Like, you know,
Right. Right.
like, but still be, allowing that person to be themselves if that's who they what they want to express. But I don't let it, like, I learned that I don't let it make me, like, it doesn't really turn me anymore. Like, I still be who I want to show up as, and
Right.
let
Right.
it do what it do. But hey, you feel me? If it get to that level, it's gonna get to that level. But I don't really even be thinking about it like that. But I feel like if I have to go there, I know it's in me to go there. But I don't have
Right.
to
Right.
be on that type of time just because someone else is.
Right, right. Because that's what I realize about reflections. Like all I have to do is understand it, but I don't have to embody that energy. Like I
Exactly.
feel like with me, it was having to learn how to embrace my anger and my ability to, get mad or whatever. And it's like, all
Hmm.
right, I'm embrace my anger. I could embrace my anger. Like I'll go outside, you know what I'm saying? I'll go
Yeah.
lift weights, I'll go do some shit, you know what I'm saying? That really allow for me. My new thing is walking outside barefooted and I talk to my anger and be like, all right, what you got to say? And I stump my feet. Bam, this make
Oh
me
yeah.
angry. Da, da, da.
Yeah, I
You know
do
what I'm
it.
saying? Bam, this makes me
Hmm.
angry. But I've seen it displayed in manners like where it may not be healthy, and that's the little unique kind of little thing I feel like where that reflection energy and everything's a reflection get confusing because it's like, all right, yes, it's showing me a part of my shadow that I need to embrace, but
Yeah.
I don't have to express it in a manner that
That
is
way.
maybe, yeah, that I'm seeing it be expressed
Yeah.
externally. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the healthiest way to express it, but I do
Right.
need to acknowledge that I need to express it and embrace
Hmm.
it. You know what I'm saying? And sit with it. And I think that's kind of like the biggest thing, because yeah,
Yeah.
I'm real big on, just like seeing the whole picture, not just like taking the maxim of like everything's a reflection, in the sense of
Hmm.
like, because like I said, if you go to that extreme, then that means go smoke crack with the crack, and not to knock nobody, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
Yeah.
you gotta kind of have like a whole view of these maxims that we
Yeah.
sometimes hear just kind of thrown out there.
Yeah. And when I speak of reflections, I've learned that it's really not on a physical level either. Like you just like you say, like just because you see a reflection doing crack, that means I need to go do crack. Like
Right,
no,
right,
but it's like the energy, and I think it helps you like be more compassionate towards people. It's not about what the crackhead is doing. It's about what energy is that person in, and most likely that person is probably in an energy of fear or sadness or need or greed or neediness, or something that's what energy is making them go do that is the
right, right.
energy that is more of the reflection, like the energy, not even what they're doing.
Yeah, would you
Like
say like it's more so like just learning how to have compassion and not judge them, but
yeah,
not necessarily do what they're
yeah,
doing.
right.
Right, right,
Hmm. I definitely feel it, and sometimes like judging people, like like I've seen people and I go to judging them because it's automatic. I can sit here and say, "Oh, I'm not judgmental," but my thoughts, it's just automatic. The
oh,
way you brought up, especially social media nowadays, you scrolling, especially if depending on what vibration you in, because we're never like on one. Like our
right,
vibrations
right,
go
right.
up and down. So it's like if we're in a low vibration and we scrolling on social media, we gonna be judging the hell out of some shit like the whole time. Like because it's just automatic thoughts. But like at the
Hmm.
core, like we know that why are we judging? Like I know that like why am I judging? Like it's it makes no sense really. So
Right,
yeah.
right. I know. For me, and I don't like to blame the natal chart as a part of the journey, but it ain't like, oh, you know these signs control me in that sense of it, but it is a part of, is the portal we jump through, and it has some
Right.
type of connection with the way we express ourselves. But like I
Hmm.
think of, my Capricorn placements, and that energy of like for me it'll be appearance sometimes. And it's appearance more so again, like you saying, just the thought of pop up. I know better than to judge somebody by appearance. I done kind of met
Right.
that so many
Yeah.
times, especially in Cali where, you look at somebody and think they this and they even wrote 30 books in a millionaire,
Hmm.
even though you was about to think that they was, something else,
Hmm.
but it's like and what I do sometimes is like have that energy of like, like talk to myself and be like, hey, that's just a thought. You don't really feel that
Exactly.
judgment towards them. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like, uh, because I done been around, people who are spiritually sensitive or aware, if
Hmm.
those types of thoughts pop up, I kind of send that little, like, hey, I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's just my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a little,
Yeah.
what I call like telepathic dap, and just
Hmm.
like, hey, disregard that. That's just my mind making noise.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Cause how do you do that? Because that's tough. Cause I feel like it could be tough sometimes, especially with somebody like close to you who you like see a lot, or you're in their vibe a lot or whatever. Like,
Hmm.
and you probably think thoughts about them that are like that are negative or whatever, but then they come
Hmm.
around and you're like, but you think the thoughts, but you know that it's just thoughts. Like
Right, right,
it's not how you truly feel about them on and deeply, like to your core. But
right.
it's like an awkward vibe. It could still be that like awkward vibe, like, yeah, I was thinking them thoughts about you. And you can't like trick yourself into saying like, nah, I never thought those thoughts about you, like
Yeah, yeah. Not it's not from that sense. It's more so of like not say trying to cover it up, but more so like almost like sending like a pleasant, like unconditional loving vibe
get it like
afterwards.
a
In
higher
essence,
vibe. Yeah, yeah.
like to just
I
come
know
in
what you mean.
afterwards and just like, hey, that those thoughts did come up, and yes, those
Yeah.
judgments exist in my ego, but
Mhm.
you understand the deeper picture. You know what I'm saying? Because I done felt it
Yeah.
and knew, like, all right, that's just this person's thoughts, but I know
Mhm.
that from their actions that these thoughts don't, dictate how they treat me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. And I think that's why forgiveness, that's really what forgiveness is. It's so important, like really forgiving, like letting shit go. Letting shit go. Like literally, for example, like a person that you meet and you think like you don't like this person. Like you just like really this person get on your nerve, like they're treating you a certain way that you don't like to be treated, or you feel, that's where the alchemy comes in, the emotional alchemy, and really give that person a chance and let it go. And not most of the trauma we want to hold on to. Oh, they a hater, or they this and that. I don't fuck with you. I can't fuck with you. But if you really allow yourself, which I've done this before, have that forgiveness and alchemize those emotions and let it go, that person can become your motherfucking best friend. And you thought like y'all just wouldn't be cool at first, but once you let it go
Right,
and actually let that shit settle down, all them emotions and thoughts that you thought was thinking about, and just let it go, it can really you can really see a new them in a new light. I ain't gonna say you might always see them. If your thoughts might come up and down about them, but you,
right, right,
just because a person does something one time, or acts a certain way a lot of the time, don't mean that your your outlook of them can't change. Because if you allow it to
right, right.
change and you allow it, to forgive them, it can change. Like,
Now, what I wanted to ask you right quick for everybody watching, like, could you explain like your process of like what do you do to alchemize, like to actually alchemize the emotion? Like, how does that process work?
hmm like lately, this has just been my thing. Like, this is what it's what I call it's like an experiment. Is it you don't react. Number one, don't react to a person, because we want to naturally, like, we somebody give us some negative energy, we want to give it right back. Like, oh hell no, let's buck. You feel me?
Right,
Like,
right,
but actually, like,
right.
well, I learned one method in mirror work. Louise Hay wrote this book called Mirror Work. She talks about mirror work a lot. Louise Hay, I love her. Watch her YouTube videos on self love and all that. And it starts with self. It starts with loving yourself. you know?
Mm-hmm.
And mirror work is a great one, just looking in the mirror, because she says in one part of her book, if somebody's treating you a certain way that you don't appreciate or don't want to be treated, go to the mirror and tell yourself how much you love yourself and respect yourself. Tell yourself the things that you wish that person would see in you, to treat you better. Tell yourself you love yourself. I love you. I accept you as you are. I respect you, you know, and cry. Whatever you got to do to like release it and feel those feelings. That's number one. Like feel it. Um, also,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I hope this don't
What?
disrupt the connection. Oh man. Cause
What? What?
I got a time limit set on all my apps, and it say I got
Mm-hmm.
5 more minutes for YouTube.
All
But
right.
is it just gonna pause? Is it just gonna pause? Cause it's like I can
Well, I mean, if it goes to shut down your YouTube, it may just, I don't know, it
it
might
ain't gonna
just shut
shut
it.
it down. It's just gonna we'll see what happens. Cause I can't do
Right.
nothing about it. It says in 5 minutes it's gonna, but I hope it don't shut off the video. I might could just pause and come back in. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. We'll we'll make it happen.
okay, yeah, this is the important part right here. Also, I've been reading Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you heard of Joe
I
Dispenza.
done heard of yeah yeah yep.
He's
I done heard of Joe Dispenza.
I recently this year got into his book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Like, and since I listened to the audiobook, it's like it's long, it might be like 8 hours. It's long. It's an audiobook on
Gotcha. Gotcha.
YouTube. It's a free audiobook, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. And his book inspired me to meditate more than I've meditated in my entire life. Just the way he break it down scientifically, neurology, psychology, everything like is connected to his, method of meditating, and how he says how the body is addicted to chemicals. The bot not
Hmm.
the body is chemically addicted to emotions. So when the
Right.
body
Right.
feels certain emotions, it's chemicals that come that
Almost like a
that
drug. Almost like being
yeah,
addicted to a
exactly,
drug.
exactly. And most of us think about being addicted to external things, but we don't realize that our body is addicted to internal things, emotions.
Hmm.
And he talks about how our body has memorized negative emotions chemically in the body. And so if you're like trying to change, it's hard to change because your external habits don't matter, because is your internal signals is what's going off. And like he talks
Hmm.
about being addicted to like negative emotions. Like a lot of people are addicted to fear, addicted to guilt, addicted to like being the victim, addicted to resentment. We don't even know it, you know? And you're like, why
Right.
can't I change? Because your body basically will look for anything outside of yourself. That's when it comes to like blaming people or anything outside of
Hmm.
yourself. And that's why I think alone time is so important. And just spending time with yourself and literally realizing that it ain't nobody outside of you. It's you.
Nah.
I'm sorry. It be you
That
sometimes.
most of the time, what I'm saying, is us. Unless it's like somebody real dangerous that we're dealing with, where we know
Yeah.
we need to, not
Yeah.
deal with them. You
Yeah.
know, because I'm
Facts.
not trying to because I'm not trying to kill me, or I'm not trying
You're
to,
right.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Man, crazy like that. But like sometimes we are just the toxic ones and we just don't want to accept that. And sometimes I accept that I've been very addicted to drama, addicted to like
Mhm.
fear, addicted to like guilt, like it's like and I've been very aware of it, and I watch when I addicted to frustration or anger,
Mhm.
and I will try, your body will make something out of nothing just to feel
Mhm.
that emotion that it's used to feeling, because it's like, oh shit, we ain't felt what, like it don't even the body don't even recognize itself, because it's like, oh, we ain't felt frustration in.
Right.
How long? Oh, we gotta find something
We gotta do.
outside to be like, oh, this is the reason why I'm frustrated. So it's gonna make something up, like just for so you to feel frustrated, because it wants you to feel frustrated, because that's what you're used to feeling, you know. And he
Hmm.
talks about just in meditation, basically, man, it's like prayer. It's beautiful. It's like prayer. I think this is really what prayer is. When you confess your sins, when they talk about confess your sins, confess all the things that you really have been dealing with that you don't like about yourself and that you really don't even want to confront. Like, damn, I've been
Right. Right.
resentful.
Uh-oh, let's see.
Okay, yeah,
Oh, all
I
right.
had
We
to
here. We here. Yep.
take the limit. I had to take the time limit off. But
We still
like,
here.
yeah, like prayer, like confessing, and like, damn, I've been a resentful person. I've been addicted to guilt. I've been addicted to shame. I've been an angry person. I've been all these things that you don't really want to accept, or about yourself. Confess your sins. Confess,
Hmm.
and then in meditation, basically renew yourself. Be renewed
Hmm.
in your mind and your body, and the second part of the meditation is basically meditating on all the things you rather be than those lower emotions. So like, and memorize in your body what it feels like to feel those higher vibrations, like visualization and visualizing yourself feeling all the opposite emotions that you actually want to feel, and memorize those emotions and like transmute. So basically transmuting all the lower vibes. And in meditation, just sitting down, you can allow yourself to feel
Nah.
renewed. It's almost, and honestly, I've done some shroom trips before, and
Hmm. Share.
like since and my shroom trips were incredible, amazing, and I did my first one in 2020, but like, uncontrollable crying, uncontrollable laughing, like just you know, you know how it is.
Yeah, I was
And
just about to say I even got the download. Like that's why I don't be having to cry so much. Like I where it comes in momentarily,
mhm,
not a lot, is because
right,
because sometimes I would, I'm like, damn, like why I don't cry, because that's another thing. Speaking of like others' opinions or like the external energies, is like, why don't cry as much as so and so say they cry? It's like don't compare yourself to so and so's past.
yeah,
They probably never, because literally that's what my internal voice was like. They ain't never took DMT and LSD and mushroom trips as much as you and cried as
mm,
much as you. Think
mm,
about your first trip. It's like you probably cried you know, multiple lifetimes worth of tears, the first few
mm,
trips. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I was, like
yeah,
drenched, you know what I'm saying? Like crying about shit that I knew was gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like all kind of stuff. So it's like,
mhm,
you know, so and that goes into it too, like, not comparing our paths, to that extent, but continue. I don't wanna.
mhm, yeah. And I and in meditation, like this is what got me hooked on these meditations, because I'm like, I feel like I don't even know what's the word to call it when you trip, like enlightenment, or I don't know what exactly the word is when you just feel an explosion of love, like overwhelming love, like just life just expands, like it's just incredible, and you're not like shrunk in fear anymore, like you're like expanded in love. And and I've cried. I love crying now. Like I love crying, because these meditations, I mark that as a good meditation for me. If I cry, I feel like
Right.
that was a good meditation, because I be running, snot nose, gotta blow my nose, all that shit, because it gets the mucus all up out of here, all up out your sinuses, gets all that mucus
Uh-huh.
out when you actually allow yourself to cry, like spit, snot, sweat, all that, all these things are releasing toxins. When you pee, when you
Mhm.
boo boo, like all this stuff is like releasing
Right,
toxins
right.
that need to come out. That's why crying is so beneficial at release, because you got to release that stuff. That's why when you going into the meditation, the confession part really be like
Mhm.
one of the like the biggest release, because you're releasing all of these lower level emotions. And I don't know if you still into the whole chakra thing, but it's almost even if you're into chakras or not, but it's still like how they explain the lower levels, rise them up, rise those lower energies higher. So when you're coming up,
Mhm.
when you're confessing the things that you don't like,
Mhm.
and it's coming from the root chakra and all those fears, and you're rising it up
Mhm.
into the heart and into the throat. When you're crying, when you're talking, and you feel that love in your heart, you just feel an expansion of love. And that's basically what alchemy is. You're alchemizing the negative emotions into more positive loving emotions, like,
Right,
so.
right.
Mhm.
Turning the lead into gold, or turning the quote unquote shit into fertilizer. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
That came to me recently when I was guided. I was guided to get this piece from actually watching the anime.
Nice.
It was an anime called the Ancient Magus' Bride, but one of the characters had this like, and literally like a green crystal just like this one in a donut shape, and I felt guided to get it in the, and just so happened the person only where I got it from only had green ones like this. But long story short, is connected to the Anchor shamanistic, you could say shamanistic rites called the Munikai rites, which
Mhm.
basically is like a Muni is another word for like heart, and Kai like heart energy or heart, yeah, you could just say heart energy like chi. But Muni
Yeah.
Kai, and a part
Mhm.
of, the meditation that comes with the Muni Kai rites is like working through almost like chakras, but different bands, but it's like from an element perspective. So it's five bands: your earth band, your water band, fire band, air, and spirit. But
Mhm.
basically like you do a meditation where you transmute through each one of the bands and bring it down to your earth band to become fertilizer to help you grow. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So
Mhm.
so yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So I do, relate to the chakra system. Like, it just makes me, it helps me explain it better when I think about emotions and lower level emotions rising higher. Even if you want to, call it heaven and hell, as above, so below,
right.
cleaning out your whole
I'm
system.
and I mean, it's not so much heaven and hell with lower chakras and higher chakras, because I feel like, what we may call
Yeah.
hell in essence is more so, for me, I see it as like just being like stuck. Because say for instance, you could be in your crown chakra, which could be considered heaven, but if you stuck in a like toxic cycle dealing with your crown chakra, it could be like hell, even though that's a higher chakra. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And
Mhm.
and even what I call lesson loops, and I learned that from like certain like my first acid trip was like where literally we was going through each chakra, like everybody in the room, we was going through our root and our sacral, you know what I'm saying? And I see that in life. It's like, all right, this loop is a root chakra loop, or this is a throat
Yeah.
chakra loop, you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
yeah, we have more than just those, six or seven chakras, but yeah, they're mainly expressed for a reason, you know what I'm saying? So most
Yeah.
definitely. And what I wanted to say too, as you was talking, to bring in a little intellectual vibe with it, uh,
Mhm.
that's what Rude Rakshas stand for. Rude Rakshas is Shiva's tears, because you brought up
Mhm.
crying and meditation,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, intellectual moment. That's what Rude Rakshas, that's what Rude
Mm.
Rakshas stand for. They're basically like Shiva's tears, and the story behind it was he was sitting in a meditation, and the meditation was just so blissful that he started crying, and his tears
Yeah.
turned into rude Raksha
Yeah.
seeds. So
just it's it's amazing. Like, I want anybody to experience that. And like I said, like my first time experience that was on a shroom trip, but ever since my shroom trip, I've been able to experience blissful experiences without any drugs or anything. So it's like
Right,
it's
right.
I don't know. It's like once your it's like a once my body memorize it, it comes and goes, but it's still like when you're going through anything low, you can always remember that. Like, do you remember that? Like,
Right, 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 right,
you
right, right.
like
You
you good, you know? Like when you
remember that blissful moment, remember those
exactly
moments when you did have breakthroughs and
when you felt
meditations and
like
stuff like
complete
that.
love, when you just felt like love, like when you just blissful, like so.
Matter of fact, as you bring that up, and I was like writing notes in connection with like maintaining yourself in the pool of judgment and opinions,
Hmm.
and I thought of like you say, think back to those moments, like literally like like the time travel, quote unquote time travel of meditation, of like going back to yourself, like your child at a certain your inner child at a certain moment, you know
Hmm.
like sometimes like I laugh because like I go to the me when I first started my YouTube channel. If I got a problem, like, look, this is when you was, bliss, you was tapping in. So if you feel a little
Yeah.
stuck, remember those moments of, when you first start your channel, and I go kind of like in a meditation and, you know, talk to that universal frequencies and be like, hey, man, look,
Hmm.
uh, te- remind me how to, what I'm saying, how to connect and tap into, this energy and, transmute right now. But, you
Facts.
know,
And your whole saying, not too far in the future, not too far in the past, right? Right here,
yep,
right
right
now,
now.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Yep,
think
yep.
that's a huge one, just knowing how to be in the present. And that's like a big way of transmuting energies too. Because sometimes I do see the benefit of, reviewing the past. I'm a Scorpio. I definitely go there. I be holding on to shit and I be in my past a lot. And but I
Capricorn,
think
Karma, Saturn,
right. So
uh,
it's definitely
ancestors,
yeah,
the
and it's
past.
hell if quote unquote hell if you want to you know
Right,
say
right,
it like that because it's a lot of trauma there. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of things that you know a lot of people hold on to, and that could be like your quote unquote hell. But
right.
and see, that's the thing about the journey. Like even when sometimes I'll be trying to be like, oh, I just want to be happy and positive all the time. It's like it's really unrealistic because without the journey that I've been through, without the negative things or the trauma or whatever, I would not be here. I would not even
Right, right,
be able to experience so much bliss and so much love and happiness if I had not if I had not been to those lower planes, and those
mm-hmm.
felt those lower things and I just, kind of balance it more. I don't allow myself to get stuck in the lower, natures as much as I
Mm-hmm.
used to. I just used to just let them completely swallow me whole and just not get out of it.
Right, because
um,
I do feel like there's a balance that's necessary, and again, back to experimenting. Like, all right, let me indulge in this negative emotion. I say indulge, but like, let me sit
right.
here with it until you realize, like, all right, I'm kind of like sitting now. I'm creating, a
Exactly.
stagnant energy. You know what I'm saying? From sitting
Right.
in it, I could be happy now. You know what I'm saying? Like I could kind of
Exactly.
move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
And then like dealing with depression for so long, like just how I used to just be stuck in them energies and just feel like I used to really feel like, oh, this is just me. This is just who I am. Like I'm just a little depressed, hopeless girl. I used to just feel like that was me. Like I was identifying with like depression. Like that is me. But like no, you are
mhm.
so much more than that. That's just like a state of consciousness that you was allowing yourself to be in for so long. Well, you know, when
Right.
you come out of there and see the other world, you see that you're way more than that. But
Right.
what I was gonna say was about just being in the past and like um a lot of different things. Even if it's the recent past, even if it's some shit just happened yesterday that really got you goddamn grinding your gears, or you
Right.
know,
Right.
last week or whatever. It's like what Joe Dispenza talked about in his book. Basically, like that energy, that's your life force energy. Like you were just talking about your necklace. It's your chi, your life force energy, the life
Mhm.
that's moving through your body, that's giving you life. And if you're using that energy, thoughts are energy, emotions are energy. If you're
Mhm.
using that energy in the past, you're in your thoughts, thinking past thoughts, you're allowing yourself to keep these patterns of emotions and habits going on, then that's what you're using your life force energy for. You're like basically giving your power away to
Y-
create patterns.
Your
You
currency,
know,
your
that's
current,
your currency,
that's why
your
they say
attention.
paying attention, like you paying attention. So are you paying your past too much attention? You know what I'm saying? And literally,
Exactly.
like what's been coming up a lot is a lot of people using the example of like, the wake of the boat, or AKA like the pattern that's behind the boat as it's moving forward doesn't control how the boat is moving forward, you know what I'm saying? Hence why it's in the back of the boat, you know what I'm saying? You're moving forward, and like
Mm-hmm.
don't let the the pattern behind you or the wake of the boat, control which way the boat is going, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so a lot of us, and I had to just be more aware of that too. Like, and that's where I'm at right now. This is just where my day-to-day life has been, being more aware of my thoughts, my attention, my energy, and not overindulging into thoughts that don't serve me. Like, because you're just
mhm.
literally creating the same pattern if you're giving your life force energy, your attention to the same types of thoughts and emotions. You got to give
Right, right, right,
yourself a new new vision. You got to think of more positive things, and or just be in the present. Like I was saying, your present is the biggest present. You bring
right,
all that energy. That's why meditation is so great, because you bringing all that. You're taking your energy from the lower vibes. You're taking your energy from the past, and you bringing it right here. Now you're super powerful because you done brought all your energy and attention to the now. You know, and this is
right, right.
the point of creation. Now you're here. Now you can create from a clear slate.
And you see, like that's also a part of knowing your path. In essence, I realized because I found myself like, all right, listening to a lot of people about shadow work and emotions. And I realized, like, all right, some people may be speaking from a perspective where they really like to dig into it in a manner where I may not have to dig into it because I'll just kind of stay there in essence. Like, hence why I'm in the beginning of my journey, I was kind of pushed into a positive place because it's like, shit, my environment was, I grew up, with a lot of pessimism, and that energy. So it's like, I'm trying to, kind of keep things moving, keep things going. And again, like realizing like, all right, yes, pay attention to, embrace the sadness, embrace the anger, embrace the quote unquote negative emotions,
Yeah.
don't judge them, give them space to be valid, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But at the same time, it's like for you need to kind of still you need to lean on the shoulder of positivity a little more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you know what negativity or pessimism look like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't need
Yeah.
to sit with it for too long, but in the sense of just again like embracing those emotions, it's like it is a
Hmm.
part of the growth. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to
Hmm.
do that do that quote unquote work, so to speak.
And I ain't trying to say like we should not feel negative emotions. I'm definitely not trying to say that. If anybody got me wrong about that, because it's impossible. 'Cause you have
Right,
to
right.
feel it. You have to feel it because it's a part of you. You have to accept it, but you don't have
Hmm.
to sit in it. Basically, you don't have to, because it's what's making those patterns, them the judgments, assumptions, the illusions that you're repeating over and over and over just based off of the past and the negative emotions that you may be addicted to. So it's like feel them. And that's the part where I feel like that's the uncomfortable part. Because most
Mm-hmm.
people, we don't want to feel that shit. We just want it to go away. Like for instance, I'm gonna just talk about a little one that I experienced the other day. Felt some frustration with somebody who I felt was I ain't gonna say it. I just felt some frustration with somebody new into my life that entered my life, and
Uh-huh.
it man, I have been experiencing this a lot though, and I'm so emotional and sensitive, but I'm okay with that now. I used to just like
Mm-hmm.
really be. It used to frustrate me, but like I be feeling other people's pain. I'm an empath. I feel that shit,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right, right.
I have literally. I feel like I don't know how this gonna sound, but I feel like
Share, share.
I've been crying. This is not the other day. This was another time, but I felt like I've cried for others. I felt like if I'm talking to a person and they're sharing something with me that's sad and sometimes people don't even express it as, oh, I'm sad. They're just talking about a story, but you hear the pain and the sadness behind it, and
Mm-hmm.
and the fear, and you know man, just having that compassion, like for anybody's story, especially
Right, right.
like just let's just say like another melanated being, like just relating to like what they've been through, and how they feel, how they've been, whatever happened in a life that made them feel fearful or rejected or unworthy, just all those things, just feeling those things by someone talking to me, like, and I cry. Like it makes me cry for them. Like I feel it. That's why sometimes I be having to. I don't be wanting to talk all the time because I know that I be feeling shit deeply, and I'm gonna have to
Right, right.
release it. When somebody gives
Right.
me it, I gotta go release it. I can't hold on to it. I used to hold on to it. Like oh,
Right,
this
right.
mine. I used to be possessive of emotions and their emotions and pain, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized that I not only have to release my own shit, I gotta release other people's who I allowed to come to me and give it to me. I got to release all that as an empath. I feel
Right, right.
like,
That's where for me the grounding, the qigong, and
hmm
the yoga, especially the yoga, like stretching, because literally like we
yeah,
releasing certain traumas just by stretching and putting the
yeah,
body, in a certain position. Like, because I
hmm
remember one time I was actually getting like a healing by somebody, and they were like massaging certain points, and I was paying attention that when they would massage one area, this thought to just fly up, and I'm like, damn, what it?
mm,
And then
yeah,
I even brought it up to him, I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure you get this and you feeling this as you're doing this, but like when you're touching certain areas, this kind of is bringing up certain stuff. She's like, yeah, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? I'm like, all
yeah,
right, word, because I'm like,
uh-huh,
because literally like it, when she wasn't doing a certain little thing on a certain area, it was kind of quiet, but then the moment my shoulder move my
yeah,
shoulder a little bit is like this will come up, and it's like, and that's why I did
hmm
that video on like exercises for the psoas muscle. You know what I'm saying? Not sore ass muscle, but psoas, PSOAS. You know what I'm saying? But like
hmm
because it said to hold a lot of trauma, and it's literally
mm,
like also is a very important muscle in essence, because it's what holds our hips and our body up in essence, almost like the reason why we stand up straight. And I'm like, that's so dope that the
yeah,
body works in that manner where it's like, all
hmm
right, the whole reason why you know able to sit up straight in essence is dealing with a muscle that actually
hmm
could hold a lot of trauma and stuff like that. So
yeah. Even your back, all that. It's like the body holds on to emotions, and that's back to But those dismiss it's science, it's chemicals, it's the body holding on to trauma chemically. That's why you get pain in certain parts of your
Hmm.
body, and you don't even know like what's going on, and you don't realize that it's like you holding on to fear or guilt or shame, or and it's just building up in your body, and like and it creates this disease, disease, like.
Right, right.
And
That
like you
that
said, releasing. It's so many ways to release. So many ways. Like you just said, yoga, exercise, dance, crying. Like I said, all the ways your body can excrete waste,
yep.
shitting, peeing, sweating,
Nah,
crying,
all,
snotting. All
all
you
that.
just you all of it is ways of getting these stores out of your body, like,
Hmm.
and like yoga is like energetic releases. I never had a massage though. I want that, but like I've
Yeah,
heard acupuncture is really good too. I want to do acupuncture too, like because I want to actually see the effects of it, like, and see if it you know triggers some
I,
things.
I I haven't done acupuncture, but I definitely like using my tuning forks. Again, I tell people, man, my tuning forks probably the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because literally, like, it's almost like a daily practice. You know what I'm saying? And I even
Mhm.
write it down in my journal to pay attention. When I'm missing sessions, or how much I'm
Yeah.
continuing. But like, the qigong and again, like. Cause say for instance, the jaws hold anger, and if my jaws feel a little tight, I do a little qigong, and then
Mm.
I mean, do a little session with the tuning forks, and then I
Mhm.
also make sure I do the energetic meditation and journal work. Like, all right, what are
Exactly.
you
Which.
angry about right now? Like, what
Mm.
what's flustering? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
I'm mad at the lesson loops and having to loop through this fucking energy. You know what I'm saying? Cause that's
Yeah.
also like I explained with EFT, like the emotional freedom tapping, but like, and how it's a dope exercise because it allows for you to, you know, in essence, like aggressively, like speak on, like, even if you got a curse, it's like, bro, this shit, like, this make me mad
Right.
and I'm fucking mad, you know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
it's like, speaking it up, because again, that's the importance is like, all right, do this type of work with yourself,
Mhm.
so that you don't blow up on,
Exactly.
people, you know what I'm saying, and your
Right.
experience, you know what I'm saying? And it
Yep.
could also again be through art, you know what I'm saying? But it's like finding,
Mhm.
different avenues to allow for that release, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, again, my new little favorite quote is I say mythology is anatomy by law, and that's why I'm also getting into astrology a lot more too. But it's like realizing, like, I picked up on, like, if a certain body part is feeling a certain type of way, is also connected to the zodiac archetype. So,
Mm.
like, if your knees feeling some kind of way, it's some Capricorn energy you need to heal.
Mm.
If your head feeling a certain type of way, it's something with your Aries energy that's having a
Mm.
problem. And then also with Montauk Chia books about Qigong and stuff like that, whereas, like, the liver is where certain emotions like anger is stored, your
Yeah.
kidneys is where fear is stored, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Just different emotions stored in different organs. And speaking of, again, another solution I done spoke of and did a video, so I'm not going all the way back through that. But like
Mhm.
the organ, smiling to your organs,
Mhm.
and then actually doing the healing sounds that goes with the organs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, that's in Montauk Chia's
Mhm.
work. But like, cause literally, like, I smile to my liver, and now I get to the point where it's real animated. Like, my liver like talk back to me, like I'm giving my liver dap. Like, hey, bro, you
Right.
been holding it down for a minute. Like, I appreciate you. It's like, man,
Uh-huh.
I'm grateful you don't drink as much as you used to. Man, you doing well.
Yeah.
Keep this shit up. You know what I'm saying? But it's
For real.
like, you know, like
Yeah.
doing that internal work. And I would say also that's where the imagination come in as well,
Facts.
and bringing it full circle, like, doing this type of work, like talking to my liver, hugging trees, doing
Yeah.
qigong outside, in places where people might be judgmental or have an opinion about it. And it's
Yeah.
like, Nah, look, I know this is a part of my, my spiritual work and practices. I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck what you think. I'm about to hug
Right.
this tree. I'm about to lay out
Mm-hmm.
in the sun like I need a tan, even though I don't necessarily need one, but I'm laying out in the sun, almost like
Yeah.
the beach, and people wondering like probably what's up with him, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
look,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see, as I'm healthy and I'm moving how I need to move, and even not even feeling like
Exactly.
that, sometimes, we may get that "I told you so" energy, like, hey, you gonna see, but it's like I don't care if they see or not. This is for my
Right.
healing. This is what I need to do. You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's why it's like I feel like it's just so important just to allow ourselves to go on our journey and try new things. And I feel like that same shit, you be looking crazy sometimes. Them be the times I feel the most goddamn free when I know people are probably looking at me like, what is going on over there? Like that be the times I feel completely free. Cause if I really don't give a fuck about people's opinions, like I am totally free. Like when I'm dancing, when I dance, I be in the gym when there's no classes in the Zumba room, and I just be
Mhm.
dancing like for hours, and I do what I want, and I don't care who walk in there, like, cause that's I know it's like a healing for me. Like I am in the zone. I don't care if I
Right.
look crazy to people. They can't hear my music. I can only hear my music in my earphones. I be doing all kind of shit, and it's like back to what you said, and that's how why connecting with the body is so important too, because like meditation, like I was just saying, going through your journey and allowing yourself to try new things. Don't Yeah, it's cool to try things that back to the title of the video about your
Right.
uniqueness. Allow yourself to be unique
Right.
and to see what you like. Like I said, you can go watch somebody and get an idea like, "Oh, let me try that." But like allow yourself to explore type of things that you like, cuz for a minute I didn't know how how important like the physical part was for me. Like I used to go exercise. I used to go to the gym and like,
It may not have
oh,
slowed up
you
for
paused
everybody
it.
else,
You
but
did pause, but you
all
back.
right. All right.
But like, in my earlier journey of like when I got into health like 12 years ago when I like lost 60 pounds, it's a journey, man. But when I first got into it, I went vegetarian for 2 years. I was going to the gym every day. I was very in a whole different mindset than I am now. Like I was all about losing weight in my mind. But
Mhm.
now it's about my body and my health and my well-being and actually like doing things that I love, that my body loves, that my mind loves. Like we aligned like dancing and different
Mhm.
guided meditations. I love doing guided meditations because I find things that I like in different meditations, and sometimes I'll just do it by myself without listening to any of them, and I'll take all the things that I learned and that I really like from those meditations and just explore them with myself. Like body scan, like that's one of my favorite ones. Just laying down and like really tapping into every single part of your body and just listening to
Mhm.
it, like just what it got to say, just giving every single part of your body attention, because we don't allow
Right.
ourselves to do that so much. Your attention is your currency, like we were just saying. And if you're always
Mhm.
giving your currency to all these things that don't matter, but never giving your attention to your body, sitting there and actually giving your body some love and attention just by paying it some mind, like that's it. And
Right.
you know, um, what else I was gonna say? Um, the meditation. Oh, I was gonna say about Louise Hay, what you was talking about, the animated, like being animated with like seeing your liver smiling and stuff.
Right.
She has
Right.
one
Right.
that I like. She says that picture like all of your like your cells are like little, they're houses, like they're taking care of you in there. Like picture them um picking up on things like say that like you have a certain part of your body that's aching, and maybe that part is like holding on to doubt and fear and stuff. But and
Mhm.
they're like cells in your body that and chemically they're reacting because that's what they're used to. But if you like put something new in there, like say, okay, we're gonna be loving in this situation this time. And your chemicals and your
Right.
cells is looking like, what? No, this new. Hey, something going on here. Something ain't right.
Right.
We supposed to be in doubt and fear, and she got some new shit going on. Like, just seeing your cells like communicating with you, and they be like, nah, we're good. Everything's good. Like lovingly speak to your cells, your body, your organs, see them like they have lives of their own because they really do. They're living
Right. Right.
organisms. Like you, the big organism, like you know, and that's
The,
how that's how I look at God too. I don't know if you ever heard
lo-
that reference about like we're just all cells of God's body. We're all a part of God's body, really.
Man, I make that reference 1,000
Oh
times.
yeah,
Like people should be tired of me saying "as above, so below." The law of correspondence, like, and that
yeah,
goes to the mythology is anatomy by law. It's like you are like the source energy to the cells in your body and the organs in your body. You know what I'm saying? And we're like, cells in the body. The trees are like the nervous system of the body that we're in or on, that we call earth or Gaia, you know what I'm saying? And
hmm,
yes, just like our bodysuit may be an illusion in the sense of it's not the end all be all, and the earth is not the end all be all. We still, got these bodysuits, so it's for us to take care of it. I would make the analogy like just because, you know, uh the car, like I'm driving a car, just because the car is not truly me and it's just a temporary vehicle, don't mean I should run it into a wall, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
facts for real. And that's just like loving your life, loving your system, just loving all of life, like loving your cells from just everything. Like,
right.
but I do about the title of the video though, because that is something that I did want like your opinion on, like
Mhm.
staying staying to your unique views when someone else might have a very opposing views. And let's just say, because a lot of people are, even me, I have a lot of fixed energy in my natal chart. Like I'm a very fixed. So like
Mhm.
meeting another person that's like very fixed in their beliefs, but yet their perspective is not even totally different, but it's totally different. How do you like
Mhm.
deal with like someone like that when you're like in yours and then somebody just like totally different perspective than you? How do you
I mean, honestly, like I just
what if
back
it's
to the
somebody
no duck.
close to you?
It's back to the no duck season and rabbit season. It's like, man, I know it's just best for me to let you be you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
But what if they don't let
like
you be you?
it ain't no
What
such
if they
thing.
nah? What if they like what if it's somebody who always like poking at what you believe and what you do? Like you ain't never had that, like somebody always like downplaying
I,
what you do and what you say, what you believe, like
then
because
that,
they
I
making
mean,
their things up higher.
I mean, in a sense, like I share my view, but if it seems like it's that like clashy, it's like, well, then maybe it's not meant for me to, be around that person or that energy like that. But
Yeah.
again, like first and foremost, like I'm a just allow for them to, what I'm saying, be themselves in the way they express themselves. Now, as you say, like how would I handle it in the
Mhm.
sense of like I just simply, share my perspective. Like I think of like, certain people that may not see health or go deep as spiritually as me, you know. It's like I share my stuff straightforward, you know what I'm saying? In a lot of cases it's like a pick your battles type of thing. Again, like I know
Mhm.
when not to. It's like I don't even feel like going back and forth on this. If it's somebody, like, say for instance, if it's somebody where you in a space where you have to deal with them or have to face them in that moment, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, be straightforward in whatever they say. I don't have no rebuttals towards it. Like, all right, I said what I have to say. If you come at me and try to downplay how I feel, I'm not gonna fuss with you. I said, how I feel. Like, hey, COVID is fake. in a sense, like, 'cause I had that energy, to deal with,
Yeah.
like, man, your body, you know, uh, your body heals. The fact that the placebo effect is real, like most diseases or most of anything, is more so mental than physical. Well,
Mhm.
oh no, but what about, like,
Yeah.
hey, don't you believe, what I'm saying? I'm not about to sit here and fuss with you. I'm kind of real practical. I guess that Capricorn, straightforward, sarcastic, like, and I always
Yeah.
been like that as a child, like most of,
Mhm.
before even being into my spiritual path, most of my elementary teachers will tell you, like, you know, Carl Ray, growing up, not universal, but he gonna speak his
Yeah.
mind. Like, I would tell you, like, hey, this is why I cheated on my spelling test, because I thought I wasn't gonna pass. Like, but just being straightforward, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is much possible. And I know how to be straightforward in a uh, like, non-button head type of way, like
Conflict.
in a way,
Yeah.
yeah, like in a way where, hey, this is my opinion. I'm expressing straightforward, but you can feel however you want about it. I still love
That's
you.
that that's that Capricorn shit. But you got an Aries moon though. So, oh child. Like I hadn't really ever experienced like Aries energy like that, but I have experienced Aries energy now, like
Uh,
personally. And I don't see how you could contain even Aries energy. Well, I guess Capricorn does it. Capricorn is able to contain that Aries energy when it's expressed through Capricorn. So,
and if you want to get real deep into it, on a level, it's Aries very close to Pisces energy. Like, the degree is like
oh
very
yeah.
close to Pisces, and Pisces
Mhm.
is very and that's like the Christ-like energy of the zodiac.
Mhm.
So I do have the, hey, this is my view, but I could, hey, I know how to say, hey, this is my view, but I ain't about to fuss with you about it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But
'Cause
Aries
I
is like a war sign. They want to fuss sometimes.
but I guess I done been through it so much growing up. Like, I used to always fuss about sports. Like, that was my thing, to debate with my friends about sports, to
Yeah.
debate about this. Allen Iverson better than this. So, like, I done did that so much
Mhm.
to where it's like I'm straight on it. You know what I'm saying? And I realized,
Yeah.
and at an early age, I realized, like, the Capricorn part of me, which I have more placements of, the Capricorn likes to win. The Capricorn likes to climb the mountain.
Yeah.
And I know that I could climb the
Silently.
mountain and win. I know I could climb the mountain and win by just letting you think you're right. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
regardless of the Aries
Very
emotion,
it's a very like quiet arrogance.
it's
It's
like,
it's
it's like, I
it's
already
like
know,
I'm the
like,
man. I ain't gotta do it.
and it's just more so, like, it's like the inner, like, I know also, like, this is a way for you to kind of ping pong with my energy, and I ain't trying to ping pong with my energy, because I know that's a
Yeah.
part of the, why you even trying to fuss with me. Also, is like, so we could kind of play back and forth with energy. So it's like, nope. I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, yeah, Santa Claus is real. Yeah.
But do you think sometimes like people show up in your, in your field because of basically back to reflections, but
Mhm.
recently I was thinking of, the concept of your subconscious and your conscious mind, like
Mhm.
we can say your sun sign and your moon sign
Right,
is
right,
two
right,
aspects of yourself. And especially if your sun sign and your moon sign is very different, they're kind of at battle and conflict with each other. It's like
right,
inside of you, you're like it, you could be ping ponging in yourself. So if somebody shows up outside of you that want to debate with you, a fight or ping pong, it's just like in a reflection of what's going on with your subconscious and conscious.
right.
Like,
And I guess, again, like, I done got to a space where those people barely, they barely show up in my experience, in the sense, like, I even think of, like, you know, like, I literally be like amazed, like, damn, nobody try to argue religion with me. Like, nobody comes at me, because I done, you know,
Yeah.
whatever work, you know what I'm saying, I done and had to do,
Mm.
you know, and not to
Right.
say that it doesn't, because again, doesn't mean that pop quizzes don't show up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
AKA, a person is like, oh, Jesus
Mhm.
is the way, or you should do this, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that people don't pop up with it, but again, it's just back to that energy of, I see how I could just like say what I gotta say without fussing, because I even think about how I deflate, a lot of those situations. A lot of times, I think of certain
Mhm.
people, in the past where, you know, they look at the crystals and I could feel them gearing up like, the Bible say the crystals ain't, and it's like, oh, well, to each his own, you know what I'm saying? There is information that speaks on the Bible, but, and I
Yeah.
tap into the Christ energy, but, like I just kind of, know how to deflate it because I also understand, like literally like how we used to use the terminology. I don't know if it was just a Louisiana thing, like where, oh boy, you drove, boy. I done drove you, you know what I'm
What?
saying? So like when somebody like makes you angry, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And we
okay.
were like driving somebody and
Right.
literally though, not realizing how esoteric that term really is. It's like,
Cause
because
it
we use
is.
it because we used to even say like, "Oh man, I got that steering wheel in your back, boy. I'm driving you, boy." You know what I'm saying? Like, and I
Mhm.
again like coming from that background and just knowing that energy, it's like I ain't about to let you drive me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I guess with that awareness, you know what I'm saying, it kind of is how I always
Yeah.
uh deflected. But I again though I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm not gonna completely like just not be myself. But then again,
Mhm.
I realized like, all right, if I'm graduating to a space where I don't be conflicting with myself like that, and certain people still may be on that energy, then I know I need to like, now I done graduated to move and know that I'm moving without running away because I done
Right.
faced it. I done dealt, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like I done dealt
Mhm.
with you cordially, but you still on that type of energy, and that's the universe telling me to kind of, move on, you know what I'm saying? Or,
Yeah.
but
When
I,
that energy shows up for me, I feel like it's a lesson. It's always a lesson for me, and it all like because I'm looking at it like what about me created this?
that
Because I'm feeling like I created this. So and
uh-huh.
back to what I was saying, being addicted to like certain like emotions and being addicted to certain patterns, realizing like I've been addicted to drama, creating it's the Scorpio in me. It might be the Leo too, but creating drama, creating like creating these mental situations in my head that are just so far gone and like yeah, just creating and I don't even think it's a bad thing. I know y'all can call me toxic,
I
but
mean, it's a part of
I don't even think it's a bad thing. You know, when they call people toxic, I feel like if you actually truly learning from it, if you're looking at it from a student as a student and you're learning from it, you know, but you know, being addicted to like drama, but then it come in your life, it actually show up. Like, cause you
Mhm.
can be addicted to the whole drama and creating scenarios in your mind all the time. And then when it shows up in your reality, like I was just saying about you can blame that person. Oh, that person is doing this and that. No, you created that. Something about
Yeah,
you created that. It may have been you creating drama in your head. You probably been single for 20 years. But you've
right.
been in a drama in your head the whole time. So you done manifested a partner. The universe like, hey, this what you like, ain't it? Let me give you some a whole
Uh,
person you could argue with.
and
But
on a deeper level, with like dealing with narcissists or manipulative energies, I always question myself first. It's like, all right, how am I being manipulative towards myself? Or if somebody's
Exactly.
outside of me gaslighting me, how am I gaslighting myself? Because once I stop
Hmm.
manipulating myself, and once I stop lying to myself, then the person who's lying to me outside of me won't no longer be in my experience. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
it's like it's always in the first like I'm grateful for DMT trips and you don't need psychedelics and none of that. I'm not saying that that's necessary for your growth. I've said this 1,000 times, but just that really exposed like it's all me, and it's like understanding like how to navigate it. You know what I'm saying? Like in the balance of it, it's all me,
Yeah.
and always ask yourself first, like, all right, what did I do to attract this? But you got to be
Right.
aware that as a light, you may attract mosquitoes. So some parts you attract them because it is like a reflection of something in your subconscious, but then some beings you attract them just so you can learn how to say get the fuck from away from me, like and
Yeah.
set healthy boundaries. You know what I'm
And I
saying?
and I
So
yeah, and sometimes I think it is you it was created from a place in you that you're experiencing that. Let's just, I'm gonna take Abraham Hicks quotes. The vortex. You have created so many experiences and relationships and things that you want to happen in your life, whether you want them truly or not. You've created them in this whole vortex. And it's like a vortex of so many things that you have had ideas about, that you've thought about. I literally created where I'm at now,
mhm,
in a vortex, but I wasn't it just it's here now, like, and it's like like I'm saying, you have so many things in this vortex, and when it comes forth into form, you're like, what
mhm,
the fuck? Sometimes you could be like, how the fuck, especially if it's something you don't like, but you don't remember how you don't even remember that you created it because with your thoughts before, but now it's here and like you're informed in real life, and you like, how the fuck, where the fuck did this come from? You asked for that shit. You don't even remember asking for it. You asked for it. You asked for that person or that situation, that circumstance. You asked for it in a way, and now it's there, but you ain't really remember asking for it. But most of the shit we ask for, either for
right,
just a lesson or experience, or
mhm,
because we constantly asking for stuff. We're constantly creating with our ideas and our thoughts, like whether it's good or bad. Like,
right, right,
and then the
right,
person comes into your life. I think what I was gonna last thing I was gonna say is just I think it helps you tune your vibration because you're like, okay, now that thing has come into form. Now you can know, like, do I really want this? And it can help you like tune your and clean up your vibration. Like,
right,
let
right.
me get more clear on what I actually want. You know, you know,
To to
that's my
bring
case. Yeah.
it another little Abraham Hicks vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like the contrast
Yeah.
exists for a reason. The contrast exists so you could know what you don't, what you really don't want or what you like and don't like, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like, okay,
Exactly.
I don't want because as you bring that up, like my Venus is in Scorpio, a place that Venus is
Hmm.
in detriment, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Quote unquote. But you could learn a
So
lot
is
from
mine.
Venus Scorpio, and
Mm.
that's also like the Lilith energy too, you know what I'm saying? Not counting the Lilith placement itself, but you could say that Venus and Scorpio is literally like the Lilith, energy in that
Mm.
sense. But like I think when you brought up the whole thing like being addicted to drama and stuff like that, I was realizing that with myself is like, you know, like even throughout my growth, like having a certain addiction to like, what we may call hood women, you know what I'm saying? Or like just
Mm.
the hood energy, you know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah.
and not necessarily wanting like super drama on that level because I have somebody without getting too deep, but I have people familiar with family wise that has dealt with like dangerous abusive situations.
Yeah.
I'm a little aware to not want too much,
Right.
drama,
Right.
and,
Yeah. I know what you mean.
in, in the experience, but definitely, like saw where, all right, there is some form of addiction to it, even though consciously I'm like, I don't want, none of that. But I could see
Exactly.
consciously, and I realized like, all right, well, instead of wanting drama from that perspective, create a venture, let a venture
Right.
provide that, like
Exactly.
swapping things out, because again,
Yes.
esoterically, when you remove something, you got to put
Mhm.
something in this space or something gonna try to hop into that space. So you got to be aware,
Mhm.
like, all right, if I quit cigarettes, then I gotta bring in exercise. If
Yeah.
I take out drama, then I need to put, because the energy is still there. Like I want that excitement in essence,
Exactly.
instead of
Mhm.
it being drama, let it
Yeah.
be an adventure.
Play. Play.
Let let it be going to Hawaii out the blue, or
Yeah.
traveling to California out the blue, or what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, but let it
Yeah.
be from a more healthier experience instead of
Mhm.
something that's more on the toxic end of the spectrum. Because
And
again,
then, but like I said, I don't really think none of it's really toxic. I just think it's just experience. It's all source at the end of the day. But go ahead.
well, as I say toxic, I guess, and that goes into, we could, the English language and all that. I think of
Mhm.
toxic as like, something that is like more so lingering harmful energy. When I say
Mhm.
toxic, I'm saying,
Mhm.
yeah, a part of the experience is, like having, tough moments, is having, sometimes where you done had disagreements with people, stuff like that. You know, I just think like, when I say toxic, it's like somebody all the time is just like always looking for the smoke and always want the
Yeah.
smoke, want to do nothing but be in the smoke. And it's
Yeah.
like,
I mean, well, some people might like that for real,
but that
but
that's
it ain't
that,
toxic to
and let's
them
say,
if they actually like it.
and I guess that goes to perspective of like, all right, that's toxic for me and my experience. Because again, saying something is toxic is not. I'm so that's another thing, and us getting the better. That's where we communicate and talk. When I say toxic, that doesn't mean it's overall bad. Like, it's no good or bad. Like, oh, toxic is all bad or toxic is all good. Like a lot of
Yeah.
toxic situations are teachers. Like you
Teachers.
saying, like,
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
it's teachers. It's I appreciate, like, I done had meditations. Like, I appreciate this person or this place or thing that tried to almost take me out, because if I didn't have that experience, then I wouldn't
Exactly.
know something trying to take
You
me out.
you wouldn't ask for better or the next thing if you didn't have that toxic experience. Like sometimes,
Right.
yeah, those experiences make you clearer on actually what you want to bring in. So
Every,
even though it might have been toxic or quote unquote negative, it was actually positive at the end of the day when you switch your
every
perspective about it.
I mean, again, there's positive things that could be negative to you. There's negative things that could be positive to you. It's like knowing what's best for you. I feel like that's why knowing yourself is the best protection that you could have, because when you know
Hmm.
yourself, you understand what's best for you, what's not, and you know how to maneuver through your energies, in the sense of
Right.
like, again, every time something comes up, it's like, what did I do to attract this? Sometimes the
Hmm.
inner being come instantly with the answer, or sometimes it might take a lot of the inner work and retrospect. But for the most part, again, it's like, all right, how or why did I attract this situation to me? But
Hmm.
again, uh, too much of anything could be, toxic. Too much water could drown you. Too much sunlight could burn you. What I'm saying? That's two of the most given things on the planet. So it's just understanding balance and temperament with
That's it.
everything, and understanding your temperament. Because
Hmm.
yes, you ain't nothing wrong with if you like certain energies that other people may not like, what I'm saying,
Popping
or
off
vice,
sometimes.
right. Like
No,
some
but I
people.
be I be suppressing my pop off, and that's why I think when I attract like somebody who's trying to pop off all the time, it's like a reflection of my suppression of it, and I actually created it in a way.
Mhm.
And now, like Now I'm engaged in the pop off. But then I realized, like you said, it ain't toxic, but I realized that too much of it is not a good thing. And it's okay to have a little, a little passionate little squabbles here and there, but like all the time, like no, that's why space is so necessary. Space. You gotta take take breaks and have space from overindulging into anything, like you said.
Right.
Yeah,
So I feel like because that I think for me, that's why I would sit and embrace my anger and sit and embrace the fact of certain beings wanting to challenge me and stuff like that. It's like, understanding that, like, yeah,
right.
I mean, that's just life. I feel like that's lessons from even before spiritual, growing up in the hood, like, there's always somebody that want to poke at you or, or come at
Right.
you a certain way. So
Hmm.
that, I used to go to the club, but I'm not no stranger to, somebody just looking at you and wanting to scrap just because you look a certain way, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it, it's, it's just definitely like, again, like embracing it,
Yeah.
and understanding what's best for you and what you align with, you know what I'm saying? Once you
Hmm.
understand, like, right, and I feel like that's also where, like, embracing martial arts or, like, doing certain things that, again, that allows for you to embrace that fight in yourself or whatever,
Hmm.
what I'm saying? It's like, all right, instead of fighting with somebody, I could do martial arts with myself, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And back to that, just want to say again, that's why space is so important. Spending time with yourself, because if you're constantly spending time with other people, I feel like it's very easy to just blame other people and go off on them just because you feel negative emotions, anger, frustration, whatever. But I agree. Um, and my new favorites are boxing. I got me some boxing gloves and I be punching, hitting the bag.
Mm.
Basketball, I just got bought me a basketball. I have so many things. These are just new hobbies. But like I said, dancing is another one. Like
Yeah.
you were saying, stomping when you go out into nature and you stomp, that is fucking
Mhm.
spiritual. That's what ancestors used to do, like dance and stomp, and they're like they're getting these they're exorcisms themselves. They're like
Right.
extra emotional exorcism. That's really what that is. They're
Right.
getting these emotions out of them by performing these dances and rituals and stuff. And like also growling and screaming and barking, whatever you have to do to like get those type of primal energies out, because that's what they are, primal energies, like this
Right.
in there that need to come out.
And I'm one of those people too where I like to use that energy, like, again, like, reflect it in a positive way, working on it with myself, and then I save that energy, let's say, for a situation where I need to protect my family, or, like, if I'm going to
Right.
use that raging warrior or raging anger, it's not going to be to,
Yeah.
go back and forth with somebody, more so as it's going to be for something that really saves the life of myself or my family members or something of that nature,
Yeah.
because I also feel like a lot of cases, that's why a lot of people picked up on that growing up, like, and why, like, certain people, although I carry myself real quiet, wouldn't really fuck with me because they knew that they had a monster somewhere deep that, wanted to release a lot of, anger, what I'm saying, and frustration, that was just waiting to, what I'm saying, like, waiting for that moment,
Hmm.
of it. But, I realized, again, like, having to embrace it, though, when once getting into spirituality, and understanding the subconscious, is like, all right, I do have to take time to embrace this energy, nurture it, what I'm saying, and not judge it,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because, again,
Yeah.
like, I don't,
Hmm.
I understand, like, some people have like a warrior spirit all the time. Some of us have more of a a quiet, I'm a killer, but don't push me. Like, like, I'm not always
Yeah.
barking, but I'm ready to bite. Some people like to bark and bite. You know, again,
Yeah.
it's back to understanding your path and your walk.
Yeah.
Because, again, like, we're uniqueness. like understanding your uniqueness and how you should express it. And that goes
Yeah.
back full circle to the inner work, sitting down with yourself, again, understanding the contrast, why it appears, knowing what you like, what you don't like, you know.
Hmm.
But
And
ultimately, yeah,
what the other day I was reading something, but I was reading something about cats and how like there are just all different types of cat. I don't even really fuck with cats like that, but anyway, they're interesting creatures. And I was reading this thing and about how like there are so many different kinds of or temperaments. Cat, let's just say cats in general. Animals,
mhm,
that's a whole even bigger, bigger tree.
right,
But just cats just alone, there are so many different temperaments and cats is one species, but there's so many types with different temperaments. Some are lazy, some are very active, some are wild, some are, just different. It's like, and it's like
right,
humans, like we're not all meant to be the same and act the same. Like some people
right,
are loud, some people are quiet, some people are this. Yeah, just like you said, knowing yourself, knowing what's really your base, and not allow someone else to get you out of your character, and know how to express, but at the same time know that you have those, emotions within you, those the anger and the warrior in you as well. But allowing that to express itself. And another thing I was something called Carl Jung said it when I was watching this video about his shadow work. He was explaining shadow work. If you suppress a certain side of you, you can't even really suppress a certain side of you. You could
nah,
try, but
it's gonna
that
come,
part is gonna
it's gonna
come
come
out,
up.
and even it may even come out in depression and mental issues. If you're trying to suppress a side of yourself that you don't accept, and you just it's gonna take all your energy because you're suppressing it, man, and you're allowing your life force energy to be suppressed. Because that's that, and he talks about your shadow is usually a lot where a lot of your power is, because that's the part of yourself you don't accept and you don't allow to express, and you just suppressing a huge part of yourself,
Mhm.
and that's a lot of your energy that you're suppressing, you know and that shadow. So yeah. I was going
Um,
somewhere with that, but I forgot.
I was about
Yeah.
to say this is a an important aspect because again, in essence, like, going more in depth into these talks, because sometimes we just hear like, hey, you got to do the work. Hey, shadow work.
Hmm.
But like, what is that?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
explain that, what I'm saying? Because sometimes we hear it
Hmm.
as just like a spiritual maxim without hearing, how to actually do it and what's the solutions. Like, because
Hmm.
that's another too, like, don't tell me a monster in my closet, but then don't tell me how to deal with that monster in my closet. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, share,
Hmm.
if I mean, hey, everybody got a monster in the closet and then in video. It's like, all
Step
right.
one is learning that you got a monster in your closet. Step
Right,
one
right.
is acknowledging you got a monster in your closet.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Hmm. So like one of mine specifically was, I felt like was very suppressed, was my masculine energy, just my that like that warrior energy, and like I didn't really know how to express it back in the day, and I suppressed it heavily. I suppressed my anger, and it just built up resentment. I suppressed, my and the masculine energy is like the assertive energy. You can call it aggressive sometimes, assertive, the energy that goes out there and gets shit done. Like,
Right,
and if you're suppressing that energy, then like I was saying, you it gonna lead to like being depressed because
right,
you're suppressing the fight in you. You're suppressing the active masculine energy in you. So you just gonna be somewhere sad and and just lost because you're not allowing yourself to be everything that you are. Like, and that's why being active has been like one for me. That's why I said I just got into different sports and stuff. Sports and just being more active. I used to just work out and do like the lame shit. But like that's why I said like explore new things and find out what works for you. And I know I used like for a minute I was like, I was thinking like, oh, I just gotta get out there and get money. Like that's the way, like that's it. But no. For me, it's definitely more playful activities, more playful activities that get my heart pumping. That's a good playful exercise that makes me feel active. Like that's what I like personally, you know. And some people might, be out there like might go getters. The money make them feel that sense of completeness, but
Right,
it don't always have to be that, you know.
right, right. Nah,
Yeah.
again, in my experience, the with the whole warrior energy is like again like channeling, like, and as you bring that up, like that's also a healthy way to express, like if you got like the unhealthy aspect of competition, then go play sports or do something competitive, but that's competitive in a manner where nobody gets hurt. Like after a basketball game, for the most part, if you don't injure yourself from like the playfulness of it, for the
Mhm.
most part, it's like nothing, where you're trying to harm anybody, and everybody got to, because especially being a male, like you get to release that testosterone by running and jumping and like, oh man, I'm gonna hit this shot on you, or what
Exactly.
I'm
Or
saying,
masculine energy
you
in general. Yeah.
know, and again, martial arts, because literally the beginning of martial Mars, it's the art of
Hmm.
Mars, since what I'm saying.
Right.
So it's like practicing that because I realized how much that was allowing for me to kind of like, I'm like, boy, I could feel,
Feel good, right?
I could
Yeah.
feel the, yeah, what I'm saying, being released, So
Hmm.
it's definitely, it's
Yeah.
definitely necessary.
Yeah. And that's
Because
that's the
that's
way.
another before because in the spiritual, you know use the catchphrase spiritual community, but and just
Hmm.
our new age promotion of spirituality, hence why I feel like sometimes we want to, not knocking the Louise Hayes or this and that of the world, but like definitely
Hmm.
also remembering like our ancestral connections, because
Hmm.
I think of that, I'm like, shit, our ancestors ain't had no self-help books, to learn a lot of these
Yeah.
things. You know what I'm saying, like we, and which
Hmm.
again, they tools and they helpful, because I'd be lying if Eckhart Tolle, is smooth and it seemed like he don't get grumpy as smooth as he is. I would be lying if
It
I
look
didn't
like he
say,
get grumpy.
but but just in the demeanor,
Yeah.
overall,
Yeah.
that you could judge just because you only see that. But
Yeah.
it may come off as like, oh, they too soft or whatever. But it's like, no, a lot of these things are like, a lot of that information and that knowledge is very useful and can be applied, and it's just also remember that, like, hey, as a being and dealing with your ancestral energy, that you have ways of tapping in that existed before a lot of these books and these things existed. Hence why I also see like the importance of like tapping in with nature. You know what I'm saying? Like because literally I'd be
Hmm.
also like for the animals to tell me the story. Like matter of fact, speaking of anger, like I know if a wasp kind of buzzed too close to me, which none of them attacked me, and I laugh at that. I'm like, well, I'm getting better because no wasps attacking me. And for the most part, no animals be on attack mode. Like I'm like grateful at the fact of like using the like being somebody that used to shoot squirrels and
Mm.
birds, all that type of stuff. And like now how close I am to nature is like, I wouldn't even recognize the old me wouldn't even recognize who I am right now. But, you know,
Hmm.
uh thinking of again of those symbols, like let me know like, I'll do certain meditations, I'll do something, and if I sense a wasp coming close to me, I know it's like, all right, maybe I have to deal with some aggressive energy, or work on it,
Mm.
whatever the case may be. But using the
Yeah.
example of again aggression in connection with the wasp, and again, I don't see the wasp as bad, and that's for the most part. That's why most insects that sting or whatever, don't like again like I'd be chilling by wasp nests, like
Hmm.
again, like I'm amazed at how again, when you get in tune with those energies, it's like, they more afraid of you than you are afraid of them in a lot of cases, you know what I'm saying? And that in most cases causes those animals to attack is your fear towards them, because then they kind of be on the vibe. Like I picked up that they're like, well, shit, if I feel you being scary, I'm gonna attack your ass before you attack me type of energy,
Yeah.
when it nature, but I
Mhm.
again, people who done had lions as pets, and I seen a man swimming with a crocodile. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that energy does exist, and the personification of, back to, connecting with our primal energies. It's
Mhm.
like, the way to connect with those primal energies is like connecting with nature, and not fearing, a lot of these, animals and, things in nature as well. So
Yeah,
I digress.
that's a deep one. Trying to connect with some animals is still a lot of fear kind of. I mean, my shout out to people that be out there doing it though. Like really be out there with them tigers and shit. like, like they really done conquered a part of themselves. For real.
Yeah, and look, as I say that, I ain't never been out there with a tiger, or
Just saying.
nothing too
Yeah.
too dangerous in that sense of it. I ain't even say dangerous, nothing that you
It's
know that
levels. It's probably possible.
I never been around something that could be that harmful if they were anger. Because I again, like when we say dangerous,
Okay.
it's only as dangerous as again, like as much as I fear it and attract that danger to me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Again, I feel like that's what how animal trainers, people who deal with animals, not even necessarily for training, but it's because they kind of done worked out, that fear where they're able
Exactly.
to be in a vibrational state where that animal
Right.
could feel like, and he ain't, he or she ain't tripping, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
hmm
you
I be sensing that shit, even with like dogs and shit. They be trying to test your ass. They'll try to test you, see if you gonna goddamn shake or not. Even if
know,
it's a friendly dog, they be trying it sometimes. But yeah,
and I'm again that I guess that's a neighborhood situation growing up. Like I knew for the most part, a lot of them would just be waiting to see if you run or seeing how
exactly,
scared you would be,
exactly.
right?
They testing your vibrations.
Because I even think of like, even certain moments when they do pop up, and I'm like, hey, chill out. And sometimes they even stop barking. Like, yeah, I'm just trying to see where you at with it. Like, yeah, chill out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta show them who's boss. And speaking with that, like that's kind of like everything, that's with everything when you think about it, when you think about your vibration and what vibration you're vibrating from, how
Mhm.
everybody is gonna interact with your energy. Like, it's almost like to see what vibe you on, and that's what they're gonna react to. Like if you're in a loving, like you were saying, just being in a loving vibe, even if you have judgmental thoughts, just being in a loving vibe can like make them feel more at ease and shit.
Right,
But
right,
you
right.
got to get yourself there. You know that part.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a part of the journey, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's
But
just
yeah.
like being like a tiger. If you, most of us are programmed to judge and think fucking big ass tigers and all these animals like that are dangerous, so we're automatically fear them. So let's compare
Mhm,
that to like a person who we
mhm,
feel that are like a a reflection, or somebody who reminds us of someone who has done trauma to us in the past.
mhm.
Say like a woman has a lot of trauma with men, and so getting close to a man is like it's like a damn tiger. her
Right, right,
her
right.
fear is rising, and it's feel that, the other person can feel that fear, and it's only making your vibration, fucked up, really, just
Right,
being in
right.
that vibration. But being able to, transmute that vibration, realizing that it's not really much of a danger as your mind is telling you that it is, you know. Like
Right, right.
it's some primal shit. It's a really primal energy, fear, all that in the root chakra, like security.
That's one of the reasons I didn't share it in my videos, like why I had to come back to my neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, to kind of remind me of the me before the practicing on being nice, you know what I'm saying? Like the me that had to where every day you had to kind of, we used to joke my junior high was almost like the lean on me school, almost like a jailhouse. Like you had to kind of be ready, whether you was a 4.0 student or not, That's also what diffused a lot of like not being afraid of certain appearances and realizing like some people be barking more than they bite because I done saw 4.0 students slide somebody with gold teeth and tattoos, it and or like somebody always barking and that then got
Yeah.
whipped by this person and you
Mhm.
realize, you know, again, like you carry yourself how you need to carry yourself, you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
like, and I needed that reminder because I was kind of like, oh man, peace and love and light and no confrontation, no negativity. Hey guys, stop fussing. And it wasn't that
Mhm.
extreme. To some extent, it was you know what I'm saying, kind of leaning too far into that energy. And it's like, all right, remember, where you come from, you know what I'm saying? And, you
Yeah.
know, uh, the energies
Mhm.
that, and
Yeah.
that's inside you.
And that shit has a lot to do with like being prejudiced too. Just want to say that. Just the whole judgmental prejudice vibes, like you were just saying. Sometimes you can't. People do judge books by they cover, and like just say just being a black person in general. Sometimes it just makes people feel uncomfortable. Like you ain't did shit to make them feel uncomfortable. But if that like prejudgment is in their head already, then they fear level is already goddamn. They vibe already going off. Even though you ain't did shit, but goddamn be black. Like
Right,
so
right,
it's just like shit like that. Like judging books by its cover can make. That's why it's just yeah, know yourself.
right,
For
right.
real.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
I definitely, the scene, where it's like certain experiences where you do have to like know what's up with your internal energy, but like if you attract something again like that, say for instance that threatens your life, it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the inner work, but nothing says
Yeah.
spiritually well, I gotta go back to that person, place, or thing. You
Yeah.
know, I was, threatening a certain type of way that I don't rock with.
Yeah. I want to bring up something right now. Some current news. Some current
Mm,
news right
run it.
now. The trends going on right now. So this whole video, I'm sure a lot of people done at least swiped by it by now. I
All
haven't
right.
watched the whole
Watch
video.
it.
The whole
Yeah.
boat thing, the whole whatever. I don't even know where it was in Alabama. I think the fight between
Mm,
the white people and the black people by the boat, off the boat, whatever the fuck.
right,
I
right,
ain't even watched the whole video, but everybody it's viral. Everybody's talking about it. Somebody came up to me at work talking about it. Like, yeah, yeah, don't you feel don't you feel safe now? I'm like, I didn't even allow myself to watch the video because I could see how that shit be putting prejudice into people's heads and be making people prejudge people. And I ain't gonna cap. Nah, I was at work and I had just seen some just white people and I it was making me feel uncomfortable because this damn thought of this video is in my head and it got me feeling awkward. Cause I'm like, maybe they looking at me awkward because they think I seen the video and they think I'm thinking something about them, but I ain't even on that. Like it was just like a thing, like putting fear in you and making you look at a person a certain way just because some shit has been planted in your head. Like I don't know, it's just
yeah.
like
I didn't watch it,
it could
purposely.
fuck your vibration up. That's all I'm saying. That's what news do. News try to fuck your vibration up and keep you in fear, keep you thinking weird shit and feeling weird shit. Like,
Right, because I'm one of those people. I never, it took spirit to push me to even bring up, the Alton Sterling thing a while back, in Baton Rouge, where the brethren that got transitioned by the police, and they had the whole riot in Baton Rouge when I was in Baton Rouge, and that whole
mm-hmm,
energy, and that's just some. It's like,
And it's
you know how.
making black people fear cops. When they're around cops, it makes their fear go off, triggers. You know, it
And know that's the thing too, because I think of I did a video not too long ago, when I came back to my hometown. I'm like, bro, I've done a lot of inner work because I came across certain policemen in my hometown that really, really, did me dirty, for lack of a better word, and it's
mm,
like to be able to, like, oh, peace, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, how you
that's
doing?
that's an accomplishment for real.
No,
Yeah,
and it felt like it, because honestly, it was a voice that was like, man, and
yeah,
I'm like, and again, that goes back to me, that Capricorn placement. I'm gonna climb the mountain. I'm gonna win. And if winning is ignoring you, or if winning is, and say winning, but
being
if
above the
me succeeding on what I have to do is making sure that my heart is as light as a feather towards whatever shit you got going on. Cause I'm from Louisiana. Like, if I was walking around on that, like, oh, the racist shit, I would always be fucking, bugged out and
exactly,
by it.
exactly,
Like, I learned at an early age, like, all right, for one, because I could sense things deeper, they really love us, and it's just disguised as hate, in a lot of cases, because I
hmm
also grew up in Louisiana. You talking about, like, with the football thing, and, like, you know, there's like a weird little, it's a weird little funny type of love. It may not be a healthy love, but it's something there. But I, like, always realize, or intrigue, but whatever you want to call it. But I never, because even like when you talk about like that being brought up, like nobody again, but that's me. I always done had that energy and worked on it. So I
hmm
don't deal with, I don't have nobody coming up, even be real with you, even bringing it up to me. You
yeah,
know, but again, because it's something that's floating in the subconscious, and it,
right,
like you say, yeah, I done
yeah.
saw it pop up, and I done saw people making jokes about chairs, and I done laughed at some of the memes with some people showed the Doctor Strange portal. That was funny to me though.
I ain't even see nothing about it. But the fact that a person, random person who don't, I've never even talked to, brought it up to me at work, it started making me feel weird around people, certain people, you know. And I'm just like, this ain't why is something that's even not even that I didn't even allow myself to give energy to making me
Right.
feel weird and awkward. Like,
If I pay attention to you, I know you get my energy. So it's like I'm
exactly.
not,
So I know I don't want to give the energy there. But it was
you
just
know,
even frustrating feeling the energy that I ain't even want to involve myself in.
No, I done connected with that ancestral energy, before, like,
Right.
even had DMT trips, around certain oak trees in Louisiana that done saw a lot.
Mm,
You know what I'm
mm,
saying? A lot of people done, quote unquote, hung from those trees. Not to go too far in the past, because that's, again, like, for me, and that's kind of like after my DMT trips. That's also helped me to kind of realize, like, man, that shit is just shit to kind of get you to cycle back into
the
that shit.
pattern.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
and because I know that
Patterns of
again,
hate and
let
resentment.
me climb this mountain because I know what that's trying to bring me back to. You know what I'm saying? Of course,
Right.
well, I understand and embrace, and understand that anger or that warrior spirit, things of that nature. But I'm a transmuted, because I even think of having to transmute it's like an anger slash, just, you could say, anger and just traumatic vibration. When I was in LA one time, I had an acid trip where I was kind of like transmuting the gang violence energy, and we don't really have like that energy on that level. I mean, people fighting, whatever, whatever, but
Hmm.
not because of gangs, quote unquote, but literally, like, in one of my trips in Venice Beach, it was kind of like, I was picking up on some of the brothers and sisters who made a transition, and kind of, sending that love, to help them move forward and not be stuck as a, a ghost or apparition or whatever, you want to use in that area, you know, but
Mhm.
uh but yeah, I'll do that type of work. But again, I'm not going, linger in that energy because again, I grew up
Right.
around it, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
if I would let it move me that much, then I would always be, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even be now as a vibrator. I'd probably still be I wouldn't be
Mhm.
here still focusing
Yeah.
on that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. And I don't think. I
and
mean, it happens. We all feel it. We all feel anger and all these all the like deep pain that the ones feel that feel like they need to go
it
beat
it's
beat
meant
somebody ass. Like
it's meant
we've
to
all
it's meant
felt
to
it.
be it's meant to be brought up and acknowledged for sure. You know what I'm saying? Again, like I done felt that warrior spirit. And again, like with my platform and the way I could explain things, that's why I felt that nudge to like, all right, talk about the Alton Sterling thing, but because you know how to talk about it in a manner where you're going to talk about it full circle. You're not just going to be on the rah rah shit and just leave it there. You're going to rah rah and you're going to be like, all right, and this is how you know what I'm saying? You transmute that shit or where you could acknowledge it, then move past it, but yeah, it definitely, like that's a part of
Mhm.
self-love, is being able to protect yourself, you know, being able to fight for yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like again, back to in nature, you know what I'm saying? Like a mama be ready to tear ass for her cubs, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Why? Because that's love. Like if you love yourself, you're not gonna let nobody run over you or fuck over you. Excuse my diction and my language, but it's like
Yeah. Right.
that's a part
You're gonna
of
protect yourself and your family.
right, right. That's a part of
Mhm.
the
I just, but the fucked up part now is just the triggers and the fears that we live in that are not real.
that's
They're
mostly
just
mental.
illusions. Yeah, it's mostly mental, mostly traumas that we're still living in our minds, and we're still stuck in survival mode based on that instead of coming out of that and actually letting that shit go and transmuting that energy and shit. Like, but there's a real thing such as real danger, real fear, real shit you got to deal with. Like, but instinctually, we don't know what to do. Like, instinctually, I know if somebody's running at me with a knife, that's the only thing I can do is act off instinct. I can't be ready for that. And people think, oh, let's be ready, and people be in their mind so much thinking about how they need to be in defense mode when you're just putting yourself in a state of constant fear all the time. When that you don't have to be unless that shit really pop off like right here, right now. That you
Man,
gonna act off
I,
instinct. Period.
so the post that I just posted on my Instagram and I just posted it on YouTube too was a dope explanation that KRS-One was explaining to Nick Cannon on his show, where it's like you can't be fooled by the propaganda or fear monger yourself, because that's what the whole thing is. They're trying to social engineer you,
Exactly.
be fear mongered. And he
Keep
used
you in
the
a
analogy,
program.
use the acronym like, man, you got to use your gun. He was like, God, the universe, and nature. He was like, you know what I'm saying? Like God, universe, and the nature is your gun. You check out the post because he did it very well. He spoke on it very well. But
Yeah.
you know, uh, but literally, you know what I'm saying? I kind of posted some things that I talked about in connection with, like again, like social engineering and not letting that shit, and also the aspect of, you know, the panopticon. Uh, it's a physical aspect. So right quick, it's a physical way to make a jailhouse in essence where you put the prisoners in a circle, where the cells are in a circle and you have one pillar in the middle where the guards are so say watching, and it creates this effect where the prisoners don't know when they're being watched. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And it could be just one guard sitting in there that can't watch everybody, but because of that setup, you know, the way it's orchestrated, it could make all the prisoners, you know, be like, man, we don't know when we're getting watched, you know, and that's also could be applied mentally, you know, and I posted that too. I was like, you know, don't put yourself in a mental panopticon where you kind of like, oh, the Fed's watching or this and that,
Yeah.
you know, like
Facts.
man, you about
Facts.
to you you
No.
create,
That
you know what I'm saying? You know,
and
because
that can get
that's
scary in itself. Go ahead.
and that's why a lot of times, like again, I bring awareness to things with the disclaimer or the notion always is like, hey, awareness without fear mongering. You know, I'm
Hmm.
not trying to be out here on no witch hunt like, oh man,
It's
it,
hard. It's hard,
no,
honestly. Because especially
I
when
had
you're a
moments.
person who feel like the truth, you're a seeker of truth and a preach a teacher of truth. It's kind of hard not to fear monger people
No,
because these concepts and things are so unfathomable and they're just so kind of deep where people really don't want to go, and it can kind of automatically trigger fear, like even if you're not trying, because I've been triggered by some things people said. Just they ain't trying to fear, that they just speaking their truth or whatever, but the
right, right,
shit that they telling me just it scares me. Their concepts about the world and what's happening, and from their perception what's happening in the world
right.
sends me a little fear. And back to the concept of this video, being in your perspective, like how to stay in your state of mind of safety when somebody's expressing themselves, and and it sounds like a lot of fear. It sounds very scary what they're expressing, their perspective. And just like basically that's what I was kind of asking you about, like how do you stay in your like sphere of like, nah, I'm good, even though this person is and they can be sounding very convincing and very,
Uh,
it can make sense maybe some of the stuff they're saying, but you're like, this shit is scary what you're saying.
for one, you know, meditating and kind of getting in your own energy, grounding yourself in your own energy, having to go through experiences where you kind of saw like, all right, I saw where I started believing something that somebody was saying that wasn't for me, so I know next time I hear this not to listen to their perspective, you know. I
Right.
use the example of like with me and police now. It's like I've worked on that energy to where I'm like, they don't exist in my realm and don't have to exist, and no matter how much somebody else may say that's delusional, fuck what they talking about. That's how I
Right.
help myself, you know, because I
Yeah.
know how to be positively focused and still know that yes, they got lions and tigers and bears. Yes, like I know how to know that bumblebees could sting without walking around all day like, oh, bumblebee might sting me, a bumblebee might sting me, a bumblebee might. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like, you know, you could be optimistic. I rather fail off of my optimism than fail off of my pessimism. You
That
know, like
part. That
you
part.
know,
That's
and
what I
that's
go
just
with.
me. I see, because I done kind of looked at both lenses, and hence why
Exactly.
experience be so important, because that is the true wisdom. Like
Yeah.
and hence my little hard headedness. You know, it could work for my detriment. You know what I'm saying, and then work for my benefit
And you
as far
never know, right? You'll never
as
know, really.
hard headedness as far as like having the experience for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I done had trips where I done went deep and it's like, damn, you know, I asked for the truth, but that was that kind of, you know, I ain't know the truth was that deep. You know what I'm saying? But it's like
Exactly.
I asked for that experience. You know what I'm saying? And now I
Yeah.
know from experience instead of hearing so and so on YouTube or reading a book about it. You know,
Yeah.
because again, like I ain't gonna know about, you know, again, like if how can I talk to you about mushrooms or DMT or whatever if I ain't never took it and had those experiences and I only read about it? Well, you know, DMT does this and it works in the brain and it's released.
What
Like,
about
yeah. Oh,
what about something that you can't prove? That you really can't get no solid proof from. But it's like a conspiracy. Like you think these things might be true, but you don't know for sure. At the end of the day, like a quote I just heard, fear and faith both entail something you can't see. So people fear some things that they can't see, and they have faith for things they can't see. So it's like pick a side. Just pick a
Yeah,
side.
it's like polar opposites, right? Right. It's almost like two
Mhm.
sides to the same coin with that energy. But I
Right.
mean, you know, I just allow for my whole experience. Like I do my best to allow for my whole experience to kind of be the information. So it's like, all right, I hear somebody say this. I've experienced this. I've saw a lot of books that spoke on that. It's like kind of like not just taking one thing or one experience, but like kind of taking accumulation of the intellect of what I done learned, externally, what I've experienced, what I feel when somebody's talking about these things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
How would you?
and
What?
and what I was gonna say too, because I wrote that down, like that's why I started getting more into astrology, because also knowing your natal chart and knowing like your Chiron wounds, because you might be wounded like with certain fearful things, you know what I'm saying? And that's a part of your chart, but you don't know. But now that you know that you have the wound of being overly fearful about stuff, you could know that, all right, sometimes I be fucking tripping. So now that I know this, so like again, it's like again,
Right.
meditation, uh again, like astrology, like tapping in with your natal chart so you
I
could
look like
have a
Ice
better
Spice right here.
understanding. Huh?
You thought I was feeling you? I said I look like Ice Spice right here.
Oh, all right. It's like you see I done heard something about Ice Spice, but I'm not familiar with the
Okay.
story. But
I was just joking. But yeah.
because that's one thing for sure. Like with doing videos, of course we're gonna make sure we express what the video is about. But
Yeah.
we want to be free. Like I don't. It ain't no uptightness. Like
Yeah.
because I spoke on that. Like the whole reason why this is my YouTube channel, like a reason why a lot of us are entrepreneurs and created our own platform so we could do
Right.
what we want
Be
on our own
ourselves. Exactly.
platforms. It's like
Period.
shit. Why the fuck I'm tiptoeing on my platform?
Exactly. That's what I could never do.
Like what the hell? Like and
Yeah.
of course we done had our moments if we done got triggered or having to work through some shadow shit, but for the most part it's like, look, this is my platform and I created it for that reason. Take a
Exactly.
risk, put your own,
Exactly.
uh you don't have to agree with me, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be,
But I was gonna ask you, what would you say to a person who don't really, like you said, you've been through your gates and you've accumulated so much knowledge and wisdom, and you kind of know how not to fall into other people's opinions and judgments and assumptions and perspectives. What would you say to a person who really don't feel like they got that much experience in life, and really are kind of can be type vulnerable and what's the word, even peer pressured, or by someone else's thoughts and opinions, or easily just vulnerable to latch on to what somebody else is telling them.
well, for one, I realized you can't just talk everybody into, in some cases you can't really talk everybody into enlightenment in that sense of it. Like I
Hmm.
share what I share on my experience, but like for the most part, I would just go to the basics of like, hey, you know, eating healthy helps for you to get clear. Meditating helps for you to get clear. Hence why I promote like tapping into your own intuition and starting by doing things that help to promote clarity of your intuition. But I mean, because even with myself, like when some people then tried to tell me something that I wasn't ready for or I couldn't digest, it's like, ain't nothing they could do with me or say, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to get in a space where I was open
Exactly.
to it or able to digest it, So that's what I would
Hmm.
say, you know.
Exactly. And I just want to say one more thing before we get up out of here, just to extend that. It is your journey. I would just tell people, like, continue to explore on your journey. It's your journey. Like, continue to question, continue to find what works for you. You know, like my whole diet thing. I've just tried so many different ways of eating and just continue to grow and learn, you know, and not take everybody's opinion as hard truth and fact, you know.
The best book, the best book that you could ever read is the book of yourself, like reading yourself, you know. And again, hence why I've been spending a lot of time with my natal chart, you know, and like understanding, like, you know, like, oh shit, my Chiron is in Gemini and it's in the 12th house. So I got two energies that deal with like mental and subconscious healing that's necessary. So now I know
Mm,
why it's popped up, and you know, like, you know, it helps for you to kind of get a better understanding. And now I
yeah,
see too the whole full circle story of like, you know, oh, the gods, like hence why Zeus and this god and that god, you know, is literally depicted in the stars. You know what I'm saying? Like these star constellations like Mars, Jupiter, these is also considered gods. And if you're not aware, they will rule over you. But if you're aware of them, you know, you'll be able to, you know, manage things
right,
differently. Or again, or the analogy with some people use with the Bible and the Christ, like, you know, if you tap into the 13 energy, the Christ energy, which is mastering the 12 disciples or disciplines, you know, those
yeah,
12 zodiac signs in essence, you know, you kind of get, you know, a better awareness, you know. But
mm,
yeah, it ultimately knowing yourself is the, you know, is the best thing. Because again, like I
yeah,
tell people, and like I just realized, like I'm up here talking for my health in a lot of cases, you know, and I do share things that are you know, that you could apply on your growth. And hence why again I do focus on more more things to just help you strengthen your intuition. Because I laugh at the fact why I don't really have to do consultations. It's like if a person really watch my YouTube channel and practice what I talk about, you ain't gonna never have to ask me what to do or what, you know what I'm saying? Because that's
exactly.
another thing I want to create. And when we talk about walk it like we talk it, it's like since I know psychologically that we've been subconsciously programmed to look for a preacher or a prophet or somebody to save us, I'm gonna express things in a manner that teach you that hey, I'm not your guru, I'm not here to save you. Here's some information to help you help yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
period. Yeah, exactly. And now I got another thing to say. It
You
comes,
know.
I have to use the bathroom so bad. But
All right.
um when it
You can
comes
take
to
it.
that, like,
All right, take a break if you did.
hold on, I'm gonna just say that when it comes to it does get to a point where, well, I've gotten to a point where questioning has, like, questioning too much has become a problem. But I feel like it's been very beneficial that I've questioned thus far. 30, almost 33 years of my life. It has, you know, been very
Hey,
beneficial just for my growth. But I am at a point where I feel I see the benefit in just being present. Like we were just slowing it down and being present and not being obsessed, because you can actually become addicted with trying to solve problems, addicted with trying to find answers, addicted to seeking knowledge, and that can
Venus and
actually, like you
Scorpio.
said, too much of anything is not good. So sometimes that could become, you can become overindulgent. Then if you're always seeking a problem, then the universe is only going to keep bringing you problems or things to solve. So yeah,
Right.
I've seen
That's
the
that
lesson
Venus.
in that too.
That's that
Just
Venus and
being
Scorpio.
present. Right.
Because you love to dive deep into
I
these
do. I have a lot of Scorpio on my chart.
and stuff like that. But yeah, and I'm speaking for myself though. I'm like, you know, with that placement for myself, it's like your Venus or the love is in wanting to dive deep into these esoteric concepts and things of this nature.
Exactly.
Realize to like,
Hmm.
you know, have a manner of pumping my brakes on that. And then I always realize too, where you know, I used to speak on this Forrest Gump magic energy, and I used to always feel like I had this Forrest Gump energy to me, where like my ignorance was saving me, you know,
I
where
have to
not
use
knowing,
that. You go
yeah, yeah,
ahead.
where not knowing certain things was actually, you know what I'm saying, saving me in a lot of cases, you know. And kind of like I made that joking video recently with Forrest Gump saving Bubba, you know, and like comparing it to shadow work. But like is like Forrest Gump wasn't aware that in essence those bullets was actually bullets trying to, you know, kill him. When he got shot, he was like, "Oh, something bit me," you know what I'm saying? Like as if it was a bug or something, not knowing that that's something that could have literally, you know what I'm saying, harmed them very in a very dangerous manner, you know. But you know, again, like that balance of like, you know, as the saying goes, in a lot of cases, ignorance is bliss, you know, and having a balance of knowing about certain things and then, you know, not having to know everything about everything, you know, most definitely. Peace to everybody in the chat though. West Combs, Tartivian, Tartivians, Ancient Styling, Miss Aisha, Rustafarian. Peace, peace, everybody. And matter of fact, if y'all have any questions for Miss Key, you know what I'm saying? Before we close out, y'all definitely type them in the chat, you know what I'm saying? You know, but
Yeah. And I was about to say, I need to start doing, like, I literally always be thinking that I need to, like, do something that involves me helping people learn about their spirituality, which astrology is one. Because I love researching all that Scorpio energy. I love fucking researching and getting to know myself, and I like other researching other people's astrology too, numerology, all that stuff. So look, I
right.
need to start doing readings, okay?
That's a positive
Subscribe
way
to my
to
channel. That's all I'm saying.
right. And we
Readings
gonna
coming soon.
I was just about to say I'm gonna let you run it on, you know, your platforms and everything you got, because also, you know, letting people know where they can find your music, you know, your platform. Matter of fact, let's just do that right now. Like what's your Instagram? What's your social media platforms? YouTube, music.
And
What
matter
you
of
got?
fact, I was going to say that about when we were talking about our masculine energy and learning how to express our masculine energies in a more healthy way. Rapping is one of my favorite ways, also, that's more non physical, just verbal to express my masculine energy. I love rapping and freestyling. But
All right.
I've been doing more music, but I ain't really, I ain't putting nothing new out. I'm working on something, but I ain't putting nothing new out yet. But I do have a SoundCloud. Um, Keezy. But if you follow me on YouTube, Key Wellness, if you go under the link, you'll see all the links to my Instagram, to my SoundCloud, to my other Instagrams. It's all there. Just go Key Wellness on YouTube. Yeah.
Already. And donation links, any donation.
Money sign Key Wellness. If you appreciate
Yep,
this. um, yeah.
definitely.
Um, yeah, my cash app is Money Time Key Wellness.
Cool, cool.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Carl Ray. I
Hey,
really
look,
appreciate it, man.
it's great. Look, it's a mutual exchange. Like I always, you know, speaking
Yeah,
of
man.
like whole emotional energy tapping into the subconscious, like I feel like uh for me, you're like one of those people in my experience that kind of like shine a light on that area for me, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yep.
definitely appreciate your presence, you
Full
know what I'm
circle
saying?
moment. I think I got into your videos like 5 years ago, maybe six. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, when I started watching your videos about 6 years ago, man. It's crazy. Like 2018 when I first met you. 5 years later, that's crazy. Still here, kicking it like Dojo.
Yep. Thank look, I was like, when you brought up the Texas traveling earlier, I was gonna bring up, yep, and Miss Key passed by and said peace to
Yeah,
me through, you know,
that's
on her lesson journeys.
exactly. That's deep. That's real deep. That's like deep for real. And I was going to, yeah, when I was going to Austin, Texas, sleeping in my car, just hit you up like, where you at? And you
Right,
had
right.
just got back to Louisiana, right?
Yeah, I was kind of doing my little visit, my little
Yeah,
California
a little
visit down.
visit from Cali. Yeah, and I'm
Yep,
like,
yep.
you shit, I'm passing through Louisiana. Let me come through.
And that's the thing too, and as you say that, like I remember going through that energy or that shadow of like wondering, like, I hope people don't see me as no guru or this and that, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah,
like of course, you know, seeing you and connecting with you, of course, it was just like again, like that genuine vibe, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? No,
You're exactly how I expect you to be in person. Like you're the same as you are online. So yeah,
yeah, again, man, it's my YouTube channel. I'm gonna be me, you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
to the best of my ability. Of course, you don't see every single side of me on my,
Of course,
on my videos, of course.
of
But,
course.
for the
Yeah,
most part, you know,
yeah, yeah.
it's pretty
Hmm.
transparent.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you for
all right.
having me, sir.
Oh yeah, no problem. And all right, we don't have any questions, so I guess we covered everything. 2 hours and 30 minutes. I guess we did a great job.
A
And matter of
long
fact, uh, right, right. Remember to if you're vibing with the videos, hit the like button, so the videos could show up through the little algorithms and stuff like that, And that's basically it. Again, you know where to find Miss Key at, you know what I'm saying? Key Wellness on YouTube, and yeah, I trust
more
that this
videos coming
yeah, yeah.
when
I
I get in
trust
that live.
yeah, yeah. I trust that this, this transmission, could help on your journey, you know what I'm saying? Because again, sharing aspects that you could apply for yourself and not us just telling you what it should be or what you should think, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, sharing applicable, if that's the proper word, applicable game, applicable knowledge, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, well, appreciate you, Miss Key.
Yes, sir.
Pe- Peace. And we're gonna close out. Y'all know what it is. Now is the vibrate, and I don't know if you want to do the
Shut up. I thought you were gonna do not too far.
right, right, right. Not too far in the future, not too far in the past. Right now, you know what I'm saying, and you got to do your, you know what I'm saying. We
We
winning
win
well,
wellness. We win in wellness, baby. Hell yeah.
but all right, everybody. Peace, peace. Enjoy the rest of y'all now moment in this good Lionsgate energy.
Love vibrations. All right.
Peace.
Peace.